tonight,
You're listening to the Doug Stanhope Podcast.
When we last left you on the Doug Stanhope Podcast, Chaley, Joby, Chad, and I had just landed in Vegas for the Swapcast with our friends at Phone Booth Fighting, Frank Mir and Big Dick Hunter, as well as Big Dick Hunter's first MMA bout at 48 years old as a skinny, long-haired, frail DJ who has trained in MMA. And we were looking forward to the fight and then the Swapcast after. You might have already heard this podcast if you listen to both, but we put ours out in order. So if you've already heard this, we're releasing it again as our own because that's what a Swapcast is. So enjoy this follow-up Swapcast right after the fight from Las Vegas, and then next week we will play you the wrap-up of the whole Vegas debacle. It wasn't even a debacle.
Oh.
It was there's nothing stayed in Vegas on this trip. It was a lot of fun, and you'll enjoy the podcast. But sadly, no one went home with any kind of sense of shame or something we could hold over their heads.
Not more than usual.
No, actually, yeah, less than usual.
Yeah.
Less than usual, but that wouldn't be on a podcast anyway, for obvious reasons. So please enjoy Chad Shank, me, Frank Mir, Big Dick Hunter, Butch Bradley,
Aries?
Yeah, fuck, I'm sorry, Aries.
He's a wrestler.
Yeah, and if you saw their podcast, they actually have video, but evidently Chad Shank had his arm and hand in front of most of the camera lens blocking it.
If we put a puppet on Chad's arm, that could have been Frank Mir because his arm was blocking, like Frank Mir was at the end of the table, and it was unfortunate. But that's the way it goes. And you didn't even know it was being recorded.
Yeah, well, they might have video of this that's already gone out, but we have this with added bonus content, meaning this introduction to what you already heard. Okay, here we go. Enjoy, and you'll hear the follow-up to the entire Vegas vacation next week on Wednesday. Thank you for listening.
All right, check 1 2, check 1 2.
Check.
This is the Swapcast, Doug Stanhope.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to grumble.
Wow.
We are having a Swapcast.
Yes,
it's
the
the
Swapcast.
Phone Booth Fighting Podcast and the Doug Stanhope Podcast meeting right here at the No Regrets Bar in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Frank Mir will be here eventually.
Frank always has a familial errand to run. Always.
He has a very terse look on his face.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's not happy with the way his corner performed.
Okay,
earlier.
well, let's set up what happened.
Talk about your corner later.
Yeah. Here comes Frank.
Here comes Frank.
Just one thing you got to know about Frank Mir is that there is always a familial errand in the mix. Like, this one was a simple one. You just had to walk all the kids into the car and everything. But a lot of times, Frank, there's your mic. It's dealing with what do we deal with a lot of like little league games and wrestling practices and all that. Yeah, this is you played it right, Doug, because of all your band cast of characters. I don't think anybody on your podcast, if they have any kids, they haven't seen them in years, right?
Yeah, they were probably aborted.
Yeah, sure. I know you got one on your record.
Okay, for our listeners, we are here in Vegas to see Dick Hunter and Frank Mir, who do the Phone Booth Fighting podcast. Dick, I know from years, you were a radio guy in Dallas, and that's how we know each other. We've already done one of these Swapcasts, but you, for some reason at 48 years old, decided to fight MMA for your first time with Frank Mir, two-time UFC champion.
Yeah. Yeah, Frank was
as
my
your
coach.
corner man.
As my corner man. So I did this program, and for our listeners, I think they're already familiar with our crazy Arizona podcasting cousins, but I need to introduce them. Doug Stanhope Podcast et al. With Chad Shank
and Joby
who runs the Celebrity Death Pool. And my buddy in comedy here, Butch Bradley, who he and I perform together all the time over at the Stratosphere in Vegas. He has a 10 p.m. residency
Who
there.
we know from our L.A. days
Years
as
back.
Stumbling Drunks in West Hollywood.
Beautiful.
Well, some things haven't changed.
That's true.
So let's just, to set the scene and why you guys are here and what happened with me and everything. So 5 months ago, Frank is two-time UFC heavyweight champion. For your listeners, may not be big MMA
That's
fans.
how he answers his
Listen,
phone.
it's not his
what I
fault
heard.
what
It
you
is.
did in there. It's not
It
his
is.
fault. Not his fault.
And so on our Phone Booth Fighting podcast, we talk a lot of mixed martial arts. That's not everything, but it is MMA-based. And so for as long as Frank and I have been best buddies, Frank has been the fighter, and I have been the comedian commentator. And about 5 months ago, I got approached with this offer to do this 5-month, 5-day
I was out of town.
program. Yeah.
I was out of town.
You were out of town.
I couldn't convince him not to do it.
Oh, here we go.
And the program was MMA training, and then at the end of 5 months, you had an actual fight, and that fight took place a couple hours ago in a cage at Syndicate MMA.
And we all came up for the fight.
Which, by the way, before we go any further, because it'll get lost after we start having a good time, genuinely, it means a ton to me that you guys came.
No. On the other hand, we love the fact. It's so thankful that you guys invited us. We're just like,
No, it's awesome.
We're blown away.
Listen, Frank can tell you, you guys have already done more than my dad ever did in any kind of organized athletics I was a part of. How many of you heard me bitch about
genuinely,
my...
we're blown away. So, thank you. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
So the fight takes place at Syndication MMA. Syndicate MMA.
The mob, the syndicate.
It's if you watch Ray Donovan, imagine if they could afford a real gym.
Yeah.
It's like that. So it's a big, spacious gym. Bunch of people, bunch of friends and family. It's like open mic night, basically.
Yeah.
That
That's actually good.
With
your
concussions.
friends show up to see you do it once.
I heard of some pretty bad open mic nights.
Yeah, and that's been, the nature of my friendship with Frank is this has kind of come full circle because when Frank and I first met, he told me when he found out I did stand-up, he said he had always dreamed of doing stand-up. So I arranged that little fantasy for him. He's now done a handful of sets, and now...
I always dreamed of getting knocked out in 10 seconds, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
It's usually always Richard introducing me to everything.
Yeah.
And there's different cultural aspects because I've had a pretty narrow upbringing.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that now it's something he kind of jumped into my backyard
Yeah.
to go ahead and fight.
Yeah, it was... let's explain what happened. In fact, somebody else explain what happened because I have a vague
just
memory.
ask, what was the official fight time? Does
I have it
anybody
right
know?
here. I
Thank you,
videotaped
Butch.
the whole thing.
Yeah, sure
Let's
you
see.
did. Butch has already
I
uploaded it to
videotaped
his
the whole-
Instagram.
I think it's like 7 seconds.
All right. Let's back up, Frank.
Yeah.
Frank, let's back up a little
Frank does
bit.
not look happy with the 7 seconds.
He's so competitive.
Let's back up to how they chose the fights. Like, you didn't know who you were fighting till the day before.
Yesterday morning, I
6
found out.
seconds, sorry. Sorry, 6 seconds, sorry. The gate wasn't closed yet.
That hurts.
The door wasn't closed. I have the angle. This is for sale, Frank. This video footage of your corner coaching.
All 6 seconds of it.
Yeah, Doug. So yesterday,
That should be the name of the podcast. Is spoiler alert.
So what happened was all these people that fought today trained together for 5 months. They were all in the program. So the coaches knew along the way who they were going to match up, but they didn't tell the fighters until the morning before because they didn't want it to be weird like in the training or sparring or whatever. So we all had our ideas in mind about who was going to be fighting
I'm
each
trying
other.
to think of who you pissed off.
No,
You're such a
listen,
nice guy.
Your
Thank
guy
you.
was
Who did you upset?
6'6". Was he 6 foot 6?
6'7".
6'7".
Yeah.
And like
you
in his
are
20s.
5'10".
Right.
5'10".
Yeah,
His
that's
arm reach was
The-
taller than I am.
The kicker is he was 6'7". I'm 5'10".
And he's 21 years younger than me.
He was born I believe it was the year after I graduated high school.
Right.
Yeah. I know. He sends me the picture.
good.
I'm all, can we fucking get a do-over?
6'7", 6'7", 21. The math does equal 6 seconds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was doing the math of when he graduated high school because 21 years younger. That means you were held back a few years.
Oh no, I graduated on time. Yeah, maybe maybe it was 2 years. But the point is, he's a youngster. He's got his whole life ahead of him.
He has hopes and
he still
dreams
has
and
hope.
all that.
Got a
stuff.
solid fight record.
Yeah, right. You convinced him he has a career now. Yeah, great.
You've actually probably fucked him worse. He's gonna be like, I'm actually good at this. I'm like, well, hold on a second. Let's not get crazy now.
I'm glad you said that, meaning fuck, because we're in a very loud place where I can barely hear across the table, and I want to make this so family unfriendly that some of these people leave.
Oh, I see.
So keep saying fucking cocksucker.
Oh, I will. Don't worry.
It'll be
Until my wife comes over and gives me the fucking muskrat look. You know? Muskrat.
It'll be fine.
She's talking to someone.
We so this was 5 months in the making, but it was I'm thinking about the moment of realization, because first of all, Frank, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I followed the game plan up until I got stopped, right?
What? I think you're not
seconds.
remembering what this is.
Okay, Frank.
First
help me
4
out.
seconds.
Was the
plan
game
was
the game plan to take 2 steps towards the center of the ring?
the game plan was to move forward,
Let them lock the gate.
throw a couple jabs. He was supposed to throw the right hand and then step with his right foot behind it
Right.
to lock up a clinch.
Yeah.
The problem is that when he did it, he just made, and this is the thing about fighting that sucks. The one error that Richard made was he went on the wrong line. When you do that move, you're supposed to attack the lead shoulder. He actually started aiming at the guy's rear shoulder, which lined him up with his power hand. So now that's a very small detail, and you have to have a lot of experience of not freaking out and being in fights to be able to be calm enough to realize you're making that mistake. Basically, you see pro football players do it. You see the guy who looks before he catches the ball because he's known to do that since he's in Pop Warner, but all of a sudden you have a guy who's 220 trying to rip your head off. Shit gets a little confusing. Your brain gets you're like, this seems pretty simple. So Richard, yes, was doing the right moves. He just made a slight error, and you know what? That's
also,
his fighting.
The guy had like a 42-inch reach advantage.
That was the
so
problem.
I don't understand. I don't know what.
Yeah, because the guy didn't even really
different.
turn his hips over. He just able to throw from the backside. I'm like, you hit it from the other side of the cage. I'm like, well.
Yeah,
I have to, for the listeners, after all of this, putting together this trip to come up to see this fight, there's 2 fights previous. I know this. So
Great
I go out,
fights, too.
as they're announcing the decision of the previous fight, I step out to smoke a Marlboro Light, and I talk to my wife, and I come back in, and the fight is over.
Yeah.
Like, I just went, like, right there. It's not a long way.
Fighting
I
and
just
sex, man. Don't
stepped-
blink sometimes.
And then I missed the fight.
Yeah.
So I didn't even see the fight.
All leading up to this, like we did this whole trip, so we could all see the fight, but especially Doug.
Yeah.
He goes out to have a smoke.
I
and-
saved my best heckles because there's a lot of children there.
if I'm
I
hearing this
saved
correctly,
my best heckles.
We got to do this again.
Yeah, right. Oh, absolutely.
Tonight.
Oh, yeah.
You're throwing him out there again.
Part of the deal with Stanhope, the contest was who could make you laugh while you were
During
fighting.
the fight.
Yeah. Heckles.
Because we
And,
were making our early heckles were family friendly because they were kids.
had the kids
and I
laughing.
go,
Oh, duh, your kids are great.
Oh, my
man.
kids
They
are
were-
dying.
Your kids are
Best.
fantastic because they were laughing so much.
Well,
Jennifer.
listen, Doug made up for it when I arrived here at No Regrets Bar because he had already commandeered Frank's youngest child, Ronan.
Yes.
what,
and-
5 years old, I'm guessing?
He's 9. He's 9.
9? I
And
don't
so
know. I
he-
don't know, kids.
Yeah, Doug has no.
Yeah,
class, no
it's okay.
range, yeah. So he comes up to me and Doug says, "Hey, show him do your impression of Big Dick Hunter," and Ronan just falls to the ground. And the
Like,
funny,
just dead limp.
yeah,
Like, just
yeah, right.
rope.
No, it's perfect. And by the way, he picked the right beer kid because he's the thespian.
Yes, he
he's
is.
the
He
performer.
was,
That's my artist.
Yeah, the other two kids are like the super competitive athletes, and he's the artiste.
Yeah, he just-
But the funny thing is, Doug, you did that, and I looked over at Frank, and Frank had a look on his face like, "What the fuck? Are you kidding?" Like
I had a little bit of rage.
Yeah.
I had like start counting and looking and looking. I'm like, all right,
a little bit. You pulled out a knife to show how you were ready to stab me and your own kid.
Yeah, Frank was like, I got to
He's
tell
not
you,
happy.
that wouldn't have
Yeah.
gone over well if you'd have done that to me. I told Doug, too, I said I could see him trying to repeat the gag if Frank had a bad night, waking up in the ambulance going, I don't understand, it played so well the first time.
It was a great joke.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
This killed in Vegas. Why didn't it go over
understand
well
why I
here?
have a concussion now.
Well, I am sorry that we didn't give you guys more of a show because
No,
you
it was a bad
You
show.
gave us a show.
I was
You
sounds
gave
like-
us a great show.
What we were going to do, I mean, I had a bunch of heckles, but one thing.
Yeah, this was funny when he had set up for you to come
Yeah,
into.
what would you say?
Well, no, one of the things I want to ask you seriously, because I was goofing around on the two fights before you, where it's a very silent audience. This is not UFC. This is a gym with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
When I said open mic, I mean like it's friends.
It's amazing with no alcohol how quiet everybody is.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying it's shitty fights. I'm saying the audience is friends and family.
Yeah.
So it's really quiet. So when a coach yells at you, or your corner man, or whoever it is, hey, get up on your feet. Use your hips. Do a 2-3-2. When they're giving you directions, you as a fighter, Frank,
Yeah.
is there any time where you're thinking, I was going to do that, but
No,
now
absolutely.
you telegraphed it to the
No, that
other
happens all the
fighter?
time. 100%. In fact, I'm cognitive of that. So sometimes when I coach, I'll call out moves necessarily like, had we had more than 6 seconds. I don't necessarily tell Richard what to do, but I'll start saying what the other guy's about to do. Oh, he's loading his right hand. Oh, he's about to throw a jab. Oh, look, he's looking to change levels. Because I know I can read what the guy's doing, especially from a third point perspective outside. It's easy for me to go, oh, I can see from your body language what you want to do. And nothing screws it. That's horrible as a fighter. You sit there like, okay, I'm going to throw a 1-2 in the guy's corner. He's going to throw a 1-2. You're like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, he's looking to change levels. You're like, all right, dude, really? Come on. You know what I mean? Like, so I do that to harass the other corner.
We didn't want to heckle the early fights because the first fight, that might have been a kid.
It was a 15-year-old kid.
Oh yeah,
It was.
yeah.
Sebastian?
We had
Sebastian,
one minor.
15.
It was good.
I kept
Oh no,
trying
the
to tell
girl,
you that.
Chelsea and Jennifer.
Yeah.
Chelsea's a pro.
That was a great
Someone
fight.
I
That
think
was
it was
good.
your
Chelsea's still an
wife.
amateur, but she's had fights.
Yeah,
Okay, but I think she was not throwing the fight, but
She
was
took it easier.
Definitely,
Yeah.
you can see
we
that.
had just to explain. As far as like this was the gamut of I was at 48, I think the second oldest person in there. There was people all the way. There was one minor, which was Sebastian, but everybody else was kind of in their 20s, stuff like that. But you did have like I think there was one mom. I think there was one. Everybody is not trying to achieve some sort of elite amateur status.
Yeah.
So certain fights match certain skill level.
Up until your fight, they had just called every fight a draw.
draw, yeah,
and
yeah.
gave them both a medal. So I kind of thought that was kind of the gig. I was like, I guess
special
everybody wins. in this.
special
Well, yeah.
MMA.
He was
They,
good.
would've-
It
they
was
don't
a
want to make
draw.
anybody feel bad. People
We were
pay
trying to
for
give
this
everybody a
shit.
participation medal. They could make it to the end.
Yeah.
Did you get a participation?
So,
Well, they
Did you
still
get a medal?
They still gave me one, but I got to be honest with you. It was 10 minutes later. I looked down. And I'm like, what is this thing around my neck? I got
They
no.
really did. They really did.
Oh my god!
The thing, honestly, my two goals for today were, A, let's not go to the fucking hospital. Honestly, I'm like, I don't want a broken jaw, something sliced. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, this isn't how he makes a living. So if he had some kind of life-altering injury, you know what I mean? Like, for what? You know what I mean? Like, and that could happen. I mean, even though the rules are set up,
Yeah.
you juke when you should have jive. I mean, you run into someone's knee because you dove forward, and all of a sudden now you crack a vertebrae. I mean, like, it happens.
When you described the rules beforehand, how they were special rules because they were, everybody was just kind of getting into it, so it wasn't the same.
I did that mostly for Jen. I was trying to make
I was expecting a lot less brutal fights than
there were. That's why.
Yeah.
I downplayed it a lot because
You did downplay it.
So I'm looking at her, I'm all, and at first I was kind of making jokes, like a guy joke, like, oh, yeah, fucking, there's a morgue. And I'm like, oh, shit, Jen's there. Hold on. It's really not that dangerous. Most of those dangerous moves are taken out. I'm trying to
There's no joint moves. Meanwhile, the small guys that were in there, we were sitting right next to it, and the impact of them slamming each other.
Yeah.
I think it was your guy that was picking up the
I actually
other guy.
looked around for a second when Jason was inside the Sebastian, the 15-year-old's guard. Now, here's what happened with that fight. Jason's had fights. He's had amateur fights.
I thought
he's not
so.
a pro, but he knows what he's doing. So they asked him, like, hey, this kid's 15. Don't wipe the floor with him. Can you go out there and take it easy on him? And, if he fights at a 6, you fight at a 7.
He didn't do
cool.
that.
Problem was, and I warned him, I'm like, be prepared, though, that he's not trying to take it easy.
Right.
So maybe take him down, get on top. Well, all of a sudden, the first round, Jason lost. That kid was putting it on him.
That kid was throwing some shots.
And then by the time Jason started coming back, he was already a little behind. Like, I hate to say I told you so, buddy, but told you so. You know what I mean? Like, this whole taking it easy shit, I don't agree with. Go out there like, okay, take it easy. That's
dangerous.
fine. But go ahead and go full blast, take his back. Throw him on the mat, get in a good position. Don't tear his head off when you're on his chest.
Yeah.
Let's get in a good position where we're safe. You can't take it easy when you're in neutral ground. Both of us throwing at each other because anything can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fighting.
Yeah.
Little tiny gloves.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that kid was 15, but he landed 3 uppercuts.
He landed a
in
couple
the first
shots,
round.
and Jason panicked.
I was heckling subtly, mostly to your kids
Yeah,
who
yeah.
are just right in front of me, and your kids were the only people laughing at my jokes.
So
But
funny.
when that guy was picking the kid up
when he
and
slammed him. So that was
him,
pretty. Now, he wasn't
I was-
supposed to do that. That's why I was saying,
did
if you
it
watch
twice.
over, I looked her over my left shoulder. Looked over my right, I'm like, hey, I don't think we're supposed to be doing that, dude. Like, what happened to taking it easy? And I know why he's not. I'm like, his ego's, because he was trying to take his head off, and I'm like, without telling him, stop trying to take his head off because you're going to look like an asshole.
All right, for
if you lay
the
him out.
listener, imagine like where you swing a kid around. Imagine a kid around with his legs around your waist, and you're spinning him around.
Hey, Doug, I'm proud of you. We could have gone the porno route on this. And
and-
explained it a lot. There's a much better pornographic description.
It's still a little gross.
Then you slam him to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you want to do to kids. I'm going to play with you. No, I'm going to try to take your head.
Yeah.
So I'd be heckling, and then, bam, I'm like, oh, fuck. It's not funny anymore.
No, and at one point in the third round, that kid caught him in a pretty vicious triangle.
Yeah.
And he was this close to passing out. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, shit.
Well, this is the first time I've been watching MMA on TV for a long time. I've been a fan. This is the first time I've ever seen anything up close.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Those guys, as small as they were way more brutal. Like, I could only imagine big
Yeah.
guys in there. But one of the more brutal moves that Jason had that kid, his head against the cage, and then he just took the top of his head and just drove it right into the center of his face as hard as he could for the whole time while he was doing body shots. And I'm like, that is fucking beast, man.
I have to mention this. While I was missing the fight with Dick Hunter, God rest his soul,
Yeah, seriously.
they
God
missed.
Great guy, man, wasn't he?
God bless him. He was a great
That was
guy.
it. We'll go back to it. That was what they were going to do to you when you came in.
Oh.
They were all going to treat you like you were dead for like an hour.
Oh, yeah.
For as long as we can make it, be like, tell stories about you.
Oh, like I get to
Oh,
trim my
yeah,
own.
yeah.
Yeah. Be like, man, he was such a sweet guy. Like, yeah,
We were
man,
going to
straight
take
shit.
turns hitting on Jennifer.
Consoling her in her moment of grief.
We're sorry that you lost Rich.
Hey, Jen, let's get out of here. He's gone.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, I mean,
you
you
like
know,
comedy? How you like comedy?
You like funny guys, right? Like,
Come on, let's go.
But while I was missing the fight, they missed 3 of the 6 seconds. Joby and Chad
3 of the 6.
literally doing this, the old fanning my face over Roxanne.
I know. I tried to call her. I think you guys freaked her out.
Oh, Roxy
I called her up and I was leaving. I'm like, oh shit, I was supposed to tell her to come over.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, Roxana, these guys, the cool guys, fans, friends of ours, come down, just stop on for 5 minutes of the
we
show.
look bad on paper, but
She's like, yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to make it. I'm like, what the fuck do you got to go do? Come on.
no, we're just.
I'll tell you what
so,
she
you
had to
intimidated
do.
the fighter.
I'll tell you what she had to do. She looked at who it was and decided that was not
anything was better than what they
She's a logical human being.
We're so huge fans of hers, from Invicta. From the beginning when Invicta was
to me,
she's a good fighter. I like watching her fight.
She's such a
great
story
grappler
too. Because when we started watching her in Invicta, she was different and she had an awkward style, and so we're going for her because that's and then at that point she became our favorite Invicta fighter, but we never. And then all of a sudden she's in the UFC. And we're like, that's an unlikely story for her to be in the UFC like that so fast. And then
and don't be surprised if before she's done, she's fighting for the title.
For the title because of all the circumstances.
Well, we fight it again,
Great. And
plug
She's such a
at.
sweet person.
Please follow at Roxy ROXY Fighter. ROXY Fighter. And say just
Roxanne Modafferi.
tweet her and tell her we love her.
The next day, she showed up when I started in the gym on Monday or Tuesday or whatever. She brought me a package of Japanese snacks and things treats and a book. Oh, thank you so much. I'm like, the ticket was free, right? I didn't have to pay nothing for it. But she's that sweet of a person. She's the fact that you thought of me. I'm looking at her. I train with you. I think of everybody here.
And
she's so appreciative.
She speaks
and nice.
Japanese. She fought over there.
She's
Hennigan.
level,
tell Roxy,
she's a good person.
Tell Roxy that we all love her in Japanese.
There's what I know about her right now. You can leave her in your house. Nothing's going missing.
Nothing's going missing.
Hang on.
I grew up in Vegas. That's a huge.
Hennigan's going to tell Roxy that we all love her in Japanese.
Right there in that microphone.
All right. 本当に会いますよ.
All right.
Did you try to call her?
Strap
I don't think I have a number for it. But maybe we can make that introduction.
We'll try again
before you guys leave
we
town.
got to tell her that they're not crazy. And
you'll keep an eye on them.
I was going to let her know, be look, I know they might have been rapey, but you can kick their ass. Don't worry.
Right. And I said, we look bad on paper. We're not good people on paper, but when you meet us, oh no, we're actually okay guys.
Yeah.
Well,
I was trying to explain that to her, but
no, we're not.
Yeah. Well, let me say, I regardless of the outcome, hands down, I took the award for the most eclectic cheering section.
Oh,
because not only did I have the whole Bisbee, Arizona crowd in, the Doug Stanhope clan. Of course, my buddy Butch is here. But in a second, we got to get up pro wrestler Austin Aries, one of the WWE wrestlers, came out to watch as well. So we had him.
Hang on. Everyone. It's very loud in here.
Yeah, can we move this to the middle of the street?
I thought these were all going to be fans of yours listening, but everyone's having dinner.
Yeah.
So if you want to do a brief fuck you, where everyone thinks we're about to have a fight. We both stand up, and I yell, fuck you, and you go, fuck you want to go. Everyone will shut up like a fight's about to happen. And let's just do this
see how this works.
As an experiment. Are you
we
with
used
me?
to do this in junior high. We'd
Yes.
pretend to beat each other up on the side of the road to make cards.
I'm just going to stand up and go,
you.
fuck you, and you stand up and say, fuck you back. And
it's you and me?
But no, everyone in this whole fucking restaurant will shut up. Do you see how I'm pulling my ears out to hear across the table? So you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. You ready, Frank?
All right.
Okay.
No, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, man.
Okay. All right.
Easy.
All right.
And now
I should have told you. I should have warned you.
Slightly.
Frank.
Slightly.
you guys laughed. It had to be real, but it is more quiet.
Well, listen.
It was real.
Listen, it was real enough because the woman seated directly behind Joby that he was almost launched into still has a concern.
Hang on. Hey, this might sound like an awkward interruption to the Swapcast, but we have to throw our own ads in here, and we'll cut back seamlessly as Chaley always does, as though you never left the conversation that we couldn't hear most of because it took place in a very crowded restaurant. I'm sure I bitched about it a lot of times, and if I haven't yet, I will later. So here's our sponsors this week, Chaley. All right, a few quick thank yous. The Happy Time Murders, starring Melissa McCarthy. They sent us not just the movie, but they sent us a big gift pack of movie-related items and stuff to enjoy the movie with, and popcorn and sparkles. They put a lot of effort into it, so I could talk about it on the podcast. But like everything else good that gets sent here, it disappeared before I could watch it. Castle Rock Kenny stole it. Thought I already watched it.
Do you know someone there? How did you get? They just sent it out of the blue?
They sent it from a friend on Happy Time Murders stationery. But I wanted to see the movie anyway. I just haven't got to it. Kenny said he loved it, but has he brought it back? No, he keeps forgetting. So at least you got Castle Rock Kenny's thumbs up. Thank you for the package, and please watch Happy Time Murders. Already, it's in video stores. Video stores. It's wherever you get. It's a Redbox. That's what we have for a video store, a vending machine. And that's probably where I'm gonna have to end up getting it. So that's that. Thank you for that. And Drew Murphy Dick Tits sent us I guess what do they call them? Adult comic books.
I didn't see it. So.
I knew immediately Bingo would like
one.
it. It's called The Butt That Farted Poop by Buck Huckle. And it's a butt that farts poop with very graphically drawn pictures of a butt farting poop. And it gets you there. It gets a little weird at the end.
No,
if you
your
can
audience.
get through all 18 pages.
Yeah, it's a quick read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And Arrow. If you asked me how the internet works, I'd say Greg Chaley. He makes the internet work, and I wouldn't be far from wrong. But how Greg Chaley makes the internet work isn't magic. He uses Arrow.
It used to be a lot of work. It used to be a lot more work than it is now, because I used to have to log into a router to reset the router and do all this stuff.
Well, let me even correct you a little bit more. It used to be work.
Dude,
you used
yes.
to have to come up here every 3 days or so and fix something or rewire or unplug or call fucking customer service and sit there for 3 hours.
Well,
haven't seen you around as much.
It's the internet I wished we would have had, because it really is super simple to install. Because we basically have created this blanket of Wi-Fi over the 3 lots that we have right here, and it's all
every
room
accessible.
Works. No one has to worry about it. And we've created these little they're access points is what they're called, but they're little outposts that have our Wi-Fi signal
about the size of a big bar of soap.
Yeah, Oh, you found one.
Well, Bingo saw it, and she thought it was a nightlight. I go, no, that's how the internet works. And she said, oh, I thought Greg Chaley made the internet work.
It is a nightlight, Doug. You get the Arrow app on your Android or your iOS phone, and you can turn those little beacons. They just plug right into a 110 wall outlet. You can turn on the light to make it be a nightlight that turns on at night.
I thought that was going to be my idea that I would sell to Arrow.
They're one step ahead of you. This is great. And the new 2nd generation Arrow with the Arrow beacon, it allows customers to build a Wi-Fi system that's more perfectly tailored to their home. Seriously, Doug, the last one I installed, I wanted you to do it, but you weren't around. It was 7 minutes. You basically go into your app, it looks for it, and then you plug it in, and it tells you, this isn't a good spot. Move it somewhere else in the room. And you just go through that step-by-step process. Super simple. And we now have all 3 properties are all covered with one Wi-Fi network.
Okay, and I read the Arrow Plus. I read the information on this, and I get a little concerned. Tell them about that.
Well, the Arrow Plus is a subscription service, and it's designed to provide you with simple, reliable security that defends all your home's devices against a growing number of threats.
Yeah, malware, spyware, phishing attacks, all of which I've suffered. I wish I could get this on my phone, because I have fucking pop-up ads on my phone. I don't even look at unsuitable content on my phone, which this can also stop unsuitable content with the Arrow Plus.
If you subscribe to the service, you can turn on content blocking. This is great for families that have kids. That lets you automatically tag sites that contain violent, illegal, or adult content, so you can choose for your kids not to be able to view that.
All right. And I still view unsuitable content some nights when I'm feeling lonely. It's very suitable. So it's not going to do that automatically.
No.
You have to set that. That's what I was concerned. My listeners, a lot of them, watch what other people would call unsuitable content. Well, your unsuitable still works unless you choose otherwise.
Besides the network protection against the malicious stuff, as well as the advanced security and the content blocking, Aero Plus also includes ad blocking, which gets rid of those annoying ads and pop-ups on all the devices. It stops it where it comes in to the main router. Let's face it, Doug, the single router model just doesn't work anymore. We've got a higher demand for bandwidth, and it's like putting a light bulb in the living room and asking to light up the master bedroom. You need to have these access points all over so that you're able to actually get full blanket coverage, and that's what Aero does.
You can do it in a few minutes. The app lets you manage your network from the palm of your hand so you know how many devices are connected at any given point, as well as the internet speed you're getting from your service provider. You can also easily create and share a guest network.
Hey, Doug, how many people are here on property right now?
Well, at any given point.
No, right now.
Right now, too.
We have 18 connected devices. I just pulled it up right when you said that. 18 connected. I can go through and I can actually look at each one of those devices. And I've started to name them if I know whose device it is, so I can tell who's here and who's not.
Do you name them all George Foreman? So the same way he remembered all 18 of his kids' names?
He just say George. And it also shows the devices that we have, the beacons, as well as the main router.
And customer support.
I assume it's good because they're touting it, but if I
like
had
the
to call them, I'd be
repairman.
surprised.
They're just sitting around doing nothing. Fire this guy or get a shittier product. Never think about Wi-Fi again. Get $100 off the Aero Base and 2 Beacons package and 1 year of Aero Plus. Visit Eero, that's EERO.com/Stanhope. And at checkout, enter promo code Stanhope. Aero. Because life's too short for bad Wi-Fi. Chaley, let's hump some merch. It's holiday season, and it's time for you to buy some Doug Stanhope shit for your friends and your relatives for the Christmas and the Hanukkah and the Kwanzaa and whatever you do. First of all, we got the stolen hotel Bibles that we've been stocking up on while I haven't been on the road, but I have been traveling. Those are autographed and personalized and sent to you. This Bible stolen exclusively for your name here by my name here. So those while supplies last. We have new podcast coffee mugs, which I haven't even seen.
They're new.
Oh, okay.
They're white.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. And of course, I have my books at the DougStanhope.com store. Got Chad Shank t-shirts. We still have some of the VHS of my last throwaway special, Papa Vodka Presents.
Also, we've got the Abortion is Green, white, and in the banana cream.
I like the banana cream. Yeah. And we get a couple of podcast shirts, the Pop-Up Vodka shirt, Bingo's book, stickers, gadgets, knickknacks, and of course CDs and DVDs and all that shit. So go to DougStanhope.com and go to the store and load up for your Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever the fuck that nonsense is. And I hope you're doing it for yourself and not someone else, because you have to. And now back to the Swapcast that's already been released. First of all, since you can't see this, Joby is wearing a vintage
jacket.
Yes. Yeah.
When he walked into the Fight Club, we tweeted a picture and someone said, you stole Robert Mugambi's wardrobe.
You're shopping at Robert Mugabe apparel. Really?
Who I have on my Deathpool roster.
I told Joby I got that joke because of Deathpool. I didn't know who he was.
There were a number of hits on Bush. Frank and I. By the way,
I got Stan.
A quick shout out to.
I had Stan.
Nice.
Quick shout out to the creator of SpongeBob SquarePants because he launched me. I leapfrogged over you, Frank.
That motherfucker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Good
I'm a solid
job.
number 4 with the Vulture
good.
Club now.
Shit.
Yeah.
You had Hellenberg, was it?
What was his name? I can't even think of what his name was
Hillenberg
now.
or something.
Hillen something. Yeah. Well, let's. I tell you what. Another thing too is there is a guy. You were asking about our listeners. One of our listeners in Portland has heard about me doing this program, has signed up for the one in Portland. He just started about 3 weeks ago. He's here tonight. He flew in to watch the fight. And at some point, we have to hear, because I'm imagining, you want to talk about second-guessing a decision. I want to know what this guy thinks the next 5 months of his life are going to be like. Well, before bring anybody else out. What time are you going on tonight, Butch?
I got to go soon. So you want me to give my seat up to your
tell everybody
10
where
o'clock
they
show at the
can find
Stratosphere, Friday to Tuesday. Sunday, I'm thinking maybe you're popping by.
I'm
right,
popping
Doug?
in.
All right, Mr. Frank Mears
I'll be
popping
up there.
by.
Hey, so what did you think of it? Is this something maybe you want to do, Butch? Would you ever jump in there?
I'll do it. I want to do it.
Yeah,
Why are you
'cause Butch
doing
is-
another 5 months with somebody?
I want to fight that Roxy chick.
I can see Butch doing really well at it, though, to be honest with you.
I don't want to fight that guy, though.
I don't know, man. You just got to show you some ground skills,
I
match
feel
it with the
good.
stand-up.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right,
I'm
maybe
ready.
season 3 is Butch Bradley.
But I feel like it's a dual corner team. Like I feel like I'll take your information, but every now and then him yelling out some insanity.
Okay,
Yeah.
if I fought Butch Bradley, there would be like specific rules, no liver punches.
To either of us. To either of us.
I don't think either of your livers really want to take any more abuse, right?
The eye fills with blood.
It would be the first ever MMA fight won via cirrhosis.
All jokes aside,
regular corners have an ice bucket.
you guys
have
actually, on a side
dialysis
note, know that that's
machine.
actually a problem for people.
Really?
If I've trained with guys that do shit that endangers their liver. Between drugs and alcohol, there's party hard. It's Vegas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you touch them there, they're much more susceptible because it's already inflamed and angry. So all jokes aside, it is actually dangerous to hit a guy to the liver that, you know what I mean?
So are you gonna do another 5 months? Another one of these?
Well, actually, I didn't have to do much. Every once in a while, I gave Richard some
Yeah,
pointers.
I mean, Frank and I were working outside the program, and I got to tell you that honestly,
Worked out well for you.
Well, for as bad as today sucked, let me tell you something. Here was the scariest moment of the whole thing. It happened about a week ago. I was giving Frank a ride home. I haven't even told you this, Frank. I was giving Frank a ride home from the podcast. And I had like a real bad strained quad. There was old man injuries were coming up during this whole process.
He goes, I strained my one quad, and then the other one started hurting too. And I'm like looking at him. I'm like, we don't have to do this.
But very, very
So I'm giving
serious.
him the friend, like, you're 48. Like, you've already trained. You've done this shit. Like, I'd feel bad if, you, crush a vertebrae or something stupid happens, and now you're limping for free. You know what I mean? Like, if I get hurt, I could point at my bank account and be like, and then you're not going to feel that bad for me. You'll be like, Frank took that shot, yeah, but he got paid $500,000 to do it. You're like, oh, all right, I'd take fucking that shot for $500,000,
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, well, you took that shot, hey, so you can't feel your right hand anymore? No. How much did you get paid for that? Like, well, actually, I paid $18. I paid money to show up and have this
But
done
I
to
got
me.
this sweet medal.
Yeah. That honestly was the scariest moment of
I
the
didn't
whole
mean to
thing.
scare
Was
you. I
that
was just trying to,
sobering
like,
conversation?
Yeah.
No, I
As your
appreciate
friend
it.
and your
Yes,
brother in a way, just
I was very. Yeah, Jennifer. heard
because I was
about it.
concerned
like,
because
yeah.
the injuries he was telling me that he's having his shoulder.
It's gonna be okay. No, that's fine. He was like, no, Frank was really worried about. He said I needed to get an MRI. Like, I'm really concerned.
That's
because of the way he was
Jennifer,
talking about his quad, I'm like,
Dick
he
Hunter's
tears a
wife is.
quadricep. That's a major
women are
injury.
talking.
I mean,
He couldn't even get up from giving Mel his dog food.
see what I mean? And the last couple of months, he's played with injuries. And here's my thought process. One, obviously, he's as natural as you can be. You know what I mean? The guy, drinks a cup of coffee is about the only PED this guy's ever even been in the same room as. And he's 48 years old. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there going, and look, he's an extremely healthy 48-year-old. But I was just nervous as his friend going, fuck, man, that's why today my goal was I just don't want to be at the hospital. I don't, stitches I don't mind. But if, we're rearranging necks and pins and needles in his fingers because he can't feel, I was nervous. And then the other one was as long as, okay. And then when I saw his opponent, I was like, all right, this ain't so bad. You know what I mean? That's okay. The kid's young. He's athletic. Or, he's much taller. The kid should win. It'd be really weird if that kid didn't win, because he had all the physical attributes on his favor. I'm like, well, I just wanted to be in there for a couple minutes. You know what I mean? Enjoy it. Nothing worse than winning or losing fast.
Right.
It sucks in a way. It really does. I know people think that's stupid, but I've been in fights where I've dealt with depression afterwards where, my wife, I can't get out of bed for 2 weeks because I won in 46 seconds. And she's like, what's wrong with you? You won. I'm all, I trained for my life for this, and it lasted for 46 seconds. So win or lose to have...
I've done the same.
You don't have that
thing with a
release.
prostitute where I spent $750 and I came in the first
You're like, wow, I just tossed around there for 6 seconds.
And that's why I was talking to you. Like, you will never get perfection.
No, you never get
on a fight.
That's why, honestly.
So that's why it always
martial artists and comedians. I think that's why we all kind of relate with each other so well.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a
I don't
set that
relate
you
to
like?
at all. You're a fucking
No, man.
psychopath.
Not at all. It's not very similar. I guarantee you, like, there's probably times you've watched yourself on camera go, oh, that wasn't too bad. That looks like shit. That's fucking horrible. And everybody around you's like, dude, that was really good. You're like, I missed my beat here. I should have said that. Ah, fuck, man. That guy, I could have said this. And then you're just pissed off. Like, and then if you do knock it out of the park, that's the bare minimum of what you expect.
We
And you
talked
don't
about
even make you happy to succeed. Like,
Frank.
I've won titles and not been happy. Never happy. I'm just miserable looking at what I fucked up on.
Frank, we talked
live
about
like
this
that every day.
earlier, right after the fight, and I was telling you that I've had the opposite, where I've had a set that was so good where they fucking hated me, and I walked off proud because I fucking nailed what I wanted to do and fucked the crowd.
I've had moments where I felt good about stuff but like, I mean, put it this way. The other day, this has already been about 4 or 5 months, I have a new coach, right? New boxing coach, and he's showing me so many things. That's why I've lost so much weight. My flexibility's increased. My stand-up right now is retardedly sick.
Good.
Off a few adjustments. But until those adjustments got made, he pointed them out to me. So now I can see them. So now I'm watching myself hit mitts, watching myself spar. And because I can see that I'm not doing what he's like, well, we need to do this. You need to rotate here. You lean too far forward. You're over your lead leg. That's why you keep with shots. And I'm watching myself do it. We were out of town. I was at the we were all sitting eating dinner at a table. I had John McCarthy there. And then my wife looked at me. She goes, you had an okay practice? And I looked down. I almost started crying. I'm a full-grown man with children. I almost started bawling. The coach knew what was going on. He's like, you need to get up and leave. I'm like, no, I'm okay. Like, that's how much I hate myself. Is that watching myself on camera makes me so miserable because I know what it should look like.
Well,
and it
at
doesn't.
your age, when you lose a lot of weight, you just focus on the stretch marks. Ladies, who's with me?
And let me just point out.
I just thought of this earlier this week because of this fight that's up right now. Is they're bringing Junior Dos Santos. They're showing clips of your fight with Junior Dos Santos, and I thought that whenever I saw that, I go, man, I bet that fucking sucks for Frank Mir. He's probably put that all behind him, and then all of a sudden they're going, hey, look,
I think about it every night.
This?
I run every fight through my mind almost every night and day. I go through my head. I think about this, think about that.
That sucks.
See,
but I think, you know what?
Yeah, but that's how you become
I
a
relate
beast,
to that.
man.
Maybe that's what it is.
Dude,
like,
what's the way
in
of the
one
samurai,
essence-
the way of the warrior? That's how you train. You review how you go down.
But that's the part where, like, I guess that's why I didn't want my kids to be fighters, because I know that at best, the best sensation I can hope for is just satisfaction. I will never be happy with any accomplishment I ever had.
I don't know. I think the guy who fought Hunter's probably feeling pretty happy tonight.
That's the problem. That's a problem. I've got too much self-esteem. I mean, I'm
You gotta let me get this question in
right.
because
Sorry.
you have been doing stand-up comedy. Your worst defeat versus your worst bomb on stage doing stand-up. What repeats
The fight
in your
was
mind?
worse. Fight. But I've had more experience. I've been doing it for years, so I've had some bad experiences. So far, my worst experience in stand-up was actually one of the shows I did with Butch, and actually I ended up okay. I treaded water. I didn't knock it out of the park, but no one else did either. The thing was, everybody else fucking... Well, no, Richard did well. Obviously, Butch fucking killed it. Butch kills it every time. Fucking son of a bitch. No. Who's the one comedian? There's the one comedian that acts like the old black man. He does that whole set.
Yeah,
Richard Pryor.
Now, he's really fucking good. He's funny. He's up there before me. Now, 2 or 3 other comedians that were decent all died. But then now he goes up. And I'm expecting, okay, now this motherfucker knows what he's doing. I watched him drown for 2 and 3 minutes. Like, die. Just dying out there. He's, like, addressing the crowd like, yo, are you guys not here to, like, fucking laugh? Like, and, like, cut his set short and left the stage. I'm like, all right, up next, Frank Mir. I'm like, oh, fuck. Are you serious?
No.
The professional just got his ass kicked, and now me, fucking, the little hobby fucking part-timer's going to walk up there? I'm fucked. You know what I
and
mean?
also, this was not an MMA crowd, so it's not like he had built-in.
It wasn't a comedy crowd.
Watch your bags.
Hey, let's Butch. Tell everybody where they can follow you and all that kind of stuff. Tell them make sure we get
Catch
that
me on
Facebook.
Instagram, Facebook, ButchBradleyComedy.com. And, come by the Stratosphere, LA Comedy Club,
Sunday
Friday
night.
to Tuesday.
Tomorrow
Sunday
night we're on
night,
stage together.
Sunday
All right.
night, Richard, Frank, and we'll get our boy Doug Stanhope.
Yeah,
to,
Doug's got to get out there.
I will be there.
Yeah,
I
Doug-
will be there. I will be there drunk after football.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All
I
right,
love
good
you,
to see
Richard.
brother.
Great job.
Thank you for
brother.
being here.
If you ever want to see what happened, I have it on my phone.
Yeah. I'll look on your Instagram. I'm sure it'll be viral.
You're checked out.
Yeah. All right, so we're bringing bringing our buddy Austin Aries over. Let's put him in the middle right here. Okay, watch out for the camera right there. There we go. Okay. All right. Yep.
Butch Bradley.
So let me
What a great
make introductions here real quick. This is a friend of mine, friend of Frank's. He's done Phone Booth Fighting podcast with us. He lives here in Las Vegas. Professional wrestler Austin Aries, who has held titles in WWE.
Only titles there.
No titles in
biggest
WWE.
asshole backstage. I held that title.
Okay, all right.
That's a good one. No,
All right.
I would. That's
WWE, TNA, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor.
Anyone that will pay me, basically.
Yeah, I mean he's a pro wrestler of
I'm
fortune.
excited. I thought it was Doug Stanhope earlier. I didn't want to say anything.
Oh, okay.
With the updated look, I wasn't sure. But
Yeah.
Aged.
I'm excited. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
pleasure to meet you guys.
The worn out, tired, fucked over from Vegas 2 days.
Well, Austin came to the fights, and I'll have to ask you, Austin, because I know in pro wrestling circles, if a pro wrestler is told they're going to be defeated in 6 seconds, it generally doesn't go over well in the locker room.
I mean, it depends because I don't get paid by the hour. So,
all right, yeah.
I mean, if I got to do it in 6 seconds or 60 minutes, the payday is probably going to be the same. So, it all depends. But yeah, I mean, you'd like to, for the prep time, you like to put more than 6 seconds in when you actually step in the ropes, right?
Part. James and I were talking on the way here about, man, disappointed. I'm like, had you had the same outcome, but at the end of the third round, I wouldn't be that upset. I wouldn't be upset at all. I'd be like, oh, he got out there, fought, he's not hurt, he lost.
You would have been able to take more out of the experience.
We got to take an experience.
That's all. Yeah,
yeah. I'm like, man, he put all those days of being up at 7 in the fucking morning at the gym, and it lasted 6 seconds.
That was my thought. My thought wasn't,
I'm with
man,
you,
he got
buddy.
knocked out. I was like, oh man,
Because you're an athlete, you know.
You put all that work to get in there. You
man,
want
there's no payoff.
you want to get some, you want to get some minutes in there and feel it. But
well, I like how Doug's. He's like dating that girl, chasing her, and all of a sudden, like,
Yeah.
you get the night, and all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah.
especially when it's over in 15 seconds.
Yeah, you got a 6 second showing now.
But in reality, the lady MMA and I have had a 5-month ongoing relationship. It's just this was the first time we went out publicly.
Ooh, okay, that's gross.
We got in a fight before the drinks
Pretty
arrived.
cool that we all got
buddy,
to see you get
because-
fucked for the first time.
And I know I already told you this, but to make it official on air, like, I am proud of you, and I told you that. Like, a lot of men, a lot of people will never step in there and test themselves because it's fucking scary.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the guys that do have the courage to at least try to get out there, man, there's a guy in front of you that wants to hurt you. That's not natural to want to go towards pain.
No.
You see a fucking lion, most people run the opposite direction, right? It's not a normal human being that goes, well, I'm going to go over there and fucking hit that thing with a stick. And you did. You walked into and, like, you didn't make a mistake because of fear. You just made a mistake from a lack of experience. And you went towards adversity. So, I mean, that in itself is a moral victory, in my opinion, because I sit there and go,
If
as a man, I could be like, well, you manned up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
the
To get
mistake you made.
results
The
had wanted,
mistake
but-
was almost for coming forward and being too aggressive and too excited, as opposed to moving backwards, as we talked about
As
earlier.
an out-of-shape, lazy guy, I told you the night before, I'm impressed just the training aspect
into
that
it.
you
That
went through
did it.
is an accomplishment
Just showing up's
to me.
impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. That
You
takes
got my, you earned my
a lot.
respect. If you're willing to
Absolutely.
show up in a situation, everybody's going
Exactly.
to watch you go out there and perform. You got my respect.
Absolutely.
Just to
show up.
Yep.
Frank said this when I walked back in and had missed the fight about you. He said, the great thing is, Dick went in there. A lot of people will backpedal immediately out of fear, where you did the opposite and you rushed in stupidly.
Right.
Well, for a guy that had twice the reach.
I used the word stupidly. I was like idiotic, I think. Fucking moron just ran at him.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I'm proud of you, man. The dedication to show up to go to those training sessions, go in there. You're not doing it for money. You know what I mean? Come on, I'll be honest. There's times I go to the gym because I know I'm getting paid. There's times with my fucking knees, back, shoulder, neck, you name it. I'm sitting there going, well, I'll circle the, you go there to the doctor, they circle the pain area. I'll circle like my left wrist. They're like, that's what I'm like, no, that's the only part that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
No, everything else outside the circle hurts.
Trying to save ink here.
I'm like, there are times where it's like, well, this is how I make a living. I got kids. I'll go and like lay with my children and go, this is my motivation to go.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact you did it just to be a martial artist, that's respectable, man. It really is.
Thank you.
To your point earlier,
maybe next time they'll give you the 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, except he'll be 17 by then, and I'll... Yeah.
Full beard.
Yeah.
No, the hardest thing to learn is to accept. Again, when someone's trying to punch you or kick you, is to accept it. Right?
I went through that. No, I definitely went through
in
that.
Wrestling, that's the hardest thing to break, is to actually open up and accept it. The guy's not trying to be malicious, but he's going to hit you.
Yeah. I'll tell you another weird thing that happened too in all this is that through all of the weird things that I've ever been a part of, I mean, career-wise, like, having a radio show or playing in bands or whatever, by circumstances, I was always the kid. I was always like the youngest one, and I was running around with guys older than me. This was the first time, and I didn't even realize it was going to happen until I felt it. I was in that class, and almost all the guys were looking at me like, sir, are you going? Yeah, are you going to be okay,
sir?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this: would you feel far worse if you had gotten beaten up by that 15-year-old kid versus the 6'7" guy that you were already outclassed?
Yeah, and I did think about that. It's funny, this is the vanity that plays in a little bit, but when my opponent was picked, I thought, okay, at least this is a guy that when you put his picture on social media, people will be like, okay, I think this is going to be a fight rather than, you're going to...
There's a lot of truth to that, because there's times where, like, as a professional fighter, when they give me opponents, my wife always gets on my ass. She's like, why do you always pick the toughest guy? If they give you a choice, pick the easy motherfucker sometimes. I'm all, no, here's the problem. The easy motherfucker might catch me too. It's fighting.
It's a no-win proposition.
We're in UFC or Bellator or whatever level we're at. I'm like, he's fucking good if he made it to that. We're not fighting in a backyard somewhere where I can be like, I'm gonna dust this dude with one hand behind me. So I'm like, so same thing. It's like, well, do I want to get smoked by a guy that has a couple titles, or want to get smoked by the guy that's like has a 50-50 record and is never going to fight for a title? And people, when you tell them, hey, I'm fighting so and so, you're like, who? That I don't know. And then you like show a picture. They're like, yeah, I don't know who that is. You're like, oh yeah, I don't want my ass kicked by that dude.
Plus, you're going to grow more and learn more if you're facing stiffer competition, right? Win or lose, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
I see the guy. Go ahead.
They said you're a wrestler.
Yeah.
And so as a fucking phoebe and a proletariat, is that like backyard wrestling?
Like Hulk Hogan wrestling?
It is.
Like WWE.
So when you, because you're fucking built.
Plants.
Yeah, he's a vegan.
There's a
you're vegan too?
Yeah, that's how we
Point being,
really?
This actually helped me out because
I want to know if he watches these fights going, I can fight for real.
No.
I know you're the
I don't have
athleticism
that
is
ignorance
undeniable.
No, first of all, I see the work that goes into just stepping in the cage. I'll say this: anyone who's stepped from MMA to pro wrestling, they get a new respect for what we do because it's a completely different training and our body's conditioned differently. But conversely, man, what these guys do, what Frank's done.
Mickey Rourke could do it in a
movie. I get paid really well to theatrically fight people. I don't know that I'd have to really go in there and fight someone for real is something I don't want to do, but.
It's just as dangerous. And I think actually you guys are more injured than we are.
We're more stupid because we accept it.
Well,
if Frank's really good, he can get out of there without getting hit. He took one punch, he was done. I got to take at least 12.
You guys do it
just
willingly.
for his comeback.
Yeah, that's the thing. Here's the difference. Here's the crazy part what they do. If you sit there and go, you see that chair, I'm like, yeah, he's going to try to hit you with that chair. Me as a fighter, I'm going, well, I'm going to do everything I can to avoid that.
And me, I got to,
And you're like, okay, you're going to get hit with this chair on the head. Be ready for it. Okay, I'll brace for it. I'm all. So you know it's coming. You're going to take it. Yeah.
So you've all seen the movie The Wrestler.
Yeah.
With Mickey Rourke.
I'm in the
How
credits.
accurate is that movie?
I mean, listen, it's
as far as the actual fights
it's been blitzed up, but there's a part of that reality,
like cutting
There
yourself.
used to be. That doesn't happen so much more because people are aware of it. So. It doesn't have as much effect. Listen, that is a very real part of the business, or has been historically. I think comedy's the same way, right? I mean, you have the spectrum of your success stories, and some guys, they're the lifers that never get that break. and they find themselves at 50 and they got nothing else to do in life.
I mean the actual events. How staged is it? Do you talk beforehand?
Listen, I never get in a ring beforehand. I look at it like this: once you learn how to tango, you can get on the floor with someone else without a tango and dance. You don't have to go talk about it beforehand. You get in the ring and you do it, and so some people do. Some like a little more produced.
There was a specific scene in The Wrestler where he goes, "Hey, I'm going to use like barbed wire. Is that cool with you?"
Yeah, you have a general idea what the scene's going to what the scene's
and how
gonna
it's
be.
going to play
but
out.
a lot of
like
times
the
it's improv.
End game.
Yeah, you're not going to pull out barbed wire on a guy and not beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, by the way,
Right, but that was a specific scene in The Wrestler where they go, "Is it cool if I do this?"
But it's different levels.
Wait a minute, can I back up and ask where wrestlers keep their barbed wire?
More shots than you've taken so far.
I'm
No,
trying
I'm
to
pretty
tell
sure
you.
it would be a death sentence in your sport. But do you ever have an issue where, like, guys all of a sudden mid-match lose their shit and they're like, yo, dude, fucking relax. We're like, it's a work. No, because I've done that before training.
Interesting you should ask.
I'm
Considering
drilling
my
with somebody and all of a
recent
sudden I'm like, yo, we're drilling, asshole. Stop
So-
it. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm trying to do. What are you
There's
doing?
there are times where you have to ask or you wonder if there's some other intention behind what's going on.
Right.
There was one match. I'll say
Yeah.
this, and again, I'm not a
Make it vague enough.
I'm not a
Yeah,
mixed
yeah.
martial arts guy, so my repertoire is limited. But I was going into a title match, and my opponent, there was some issues with his contract, and he was double talking between this promotion and another promotion, telling each that he wasn't under a deal, and trying to work both ways. There was some bad blood between the promotions, and I had to defend the world title against him. Now we knew what I was supposed to retain the title, but I wasn't sure this guy was going to,
Play along.
Exactly.
Yeah, he
so
wasn't gonna work
I
with
told
us.
the ref beforehand. I said, "So this is the finish. However, if you see me put him in a guillotine, that's the fucking finish, and ring the bell. Because if I sense anything's going awry, I'm going to just slap that on and squeeze until the bell rings, and we're done. Because we're just going to get out of there. That happens now once or twice maybe in a decade or two.
Yeah, because I can imagine if you're known as that guy, no one's
you
going
don't
to
work with you.
Yeah,
And that guy right now doesn't work anymore. You know, I mean, so, yeah, you don't want that reputation. Listen, and even with fighting, man, like, there's a code, I think. You're going in there to compete, and you want to win.
Absolutely. No, you're right.
And you want to hurt the guy to win,
Yes.
but there's no maliciousness. I'm not trying to take your career away. I'm not
100%.
trying to take away your chance to make money. Wrestling's the same
No,
way. We're
we
going to go out
actually-
there and be physical, but we got to trust each other, you know?
We actually have a fighter, and I won't even say his name, but I'm sure most MMA fans will know who I'm talking about. But he's notoriously known for that, locking on submissions, and then his opponent's tapping.
But just a little extra.
The referee's jumping on him, trying to pull him off, and all of a sudden he's not letting go. And in my brain, I've always thought, like, wow, if I'm cornering somebody and you did it to my guy, fuck the fight.
I'd
I'm
be
jumping
hot.
the cage.
Yeah,
It's a fight.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm beating your ass. I'm going to go find your girl, beat her ass. I mean, like, everybody's getting their ass whooped now. Like, that's uncalled for.
I didn't know she had a good counter. She put me into Uma Plata. The long legs are hers.
Isn't that what Dana White is trying to promote now in the UFC?
Is WWE.
Fake fucking, I'm jumping over the fucking ring, Conor McGregor shit.
There's an entertainment value to getting
At least in
asses
the
and
talk.
seats.
At least in the talk up to the fight. I'll say this about pro wrestling locker rooms. This is the thing that's always impressed me is when you see two guys who are good at what they do, their ability to walk through the stages of what they're going to put on out there, and sometimes it's a 20-minute, 30-minute match, is incredible because, and not painting with a broad brush, but sometimes I've met people and I've thought, well, this isn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but that there is a savant-like gift when it comes to
just sitting right next to the guy.
Yeah, no, not you.
Well,
do you know
the
what I'm
thumb
saying?
point.
Like you get those guys that start going, okay, well, it's this and it's this and it's it. Frank, it would be like
man.
if you could take one of your 5-round decision fights, 48-47 decision, and name each move, each nuance that's going to happen over that 25 minutes. Some of the best guys can do that. It's incredible.
I think the problem.
I just want to take a moment that even after a 6-second knockout, he could put that many big words together in a row. It gives us all hope. Savant-like nuance. He said all the
What
words.
was inside the cage? You know how rare? Like, that was a fucking fucked up question to ask somebody.
All right, tell them what happened, Frank. Take us right after the knockout.
Yeah. And his eyes were open the whole time. He got caught with the right hand, walked in, or looping right. He walked into it because he walked towards the right shoulder. The guy faded to his left, caught him with the right hook. Richards lost his sense of balance. His hands go to the mat, knees go to the mat.
Down.
Now,
Dick goes down.
Had it been
Glass jaw dick.
A real amateur fight, like
Flaccid
guys
jaw
or
dick.
pros, they wouldn't have stopped that. They would have let the other guy jump on him and finish him, or opportunity for Richard maybe to fight back. But because of the nature of what it is, they're very cautious. One guy gets stunned, the fight's over. So they stop it, don't even let it go any further. And I know he's fine, but now I'm just checking with him, like, hey, you know where you're at? Yeah, I'm a syndicate. All right, you know what day it is? Yeah, it's Saturday. Cool. And I'm sitting there in my head, I'm like, fuck, you did better at this than I do. Because I remember one time I got asked these questions, and I was like, what hotel are we at? I'm all, I could have looked around. I'm like, MGM, and my dad's like looking at me, like shaking his head, like, no, we're at Mandalay Bay, dude. Or vice versa. I forgot now. Yeah. And so I'm like looking at him, I'm like, fuck, man, he's answering these questions too well. All right, what time is it? You the fucker don't have a watch on. How the fuck do you know what time it is? He's all, it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'm like, you son of a bitch. How the fuck did you know?
I got to be honest with you. I'll tell you how I knew, and it wasn't because I went, we started the fights at 2. This is the third fight. And
minus 6
yeah,
seconds.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but the fact you're doing that math,
yeah,
I knew he was okay. He was bad. I mean, physically okay.
Well, and the thing is, too, it's like when I realize Frank's in front of me asking those questions, it's one of those moments where it's like, I don't know exactly how we got here, but however we did, it ain't good. Like, the fact that this conversation is happening.
I'm just glad I didn't have to argue with you. I've been in the locker room. It wasn't my guy, but I was associated with the corner. This way the guy doesn't get like a fucking permanent ban. But the guy got knocked out. So we get him in the locker room, and I wasn't his cornerman, but I was there watching, and my trainers, one of them was his cornerman. So we get him in the locker room. We're in the backstage, and all of a sudden the guy's looking around. He's like, all right. And he stands up like he's ready to go. And we're all looking like, sit the fuck down. So we're like trying to take his gloves off, and what are you taking my gloves off for? Fight's over with. He goes, no, it's not. I haven't fought yet.
Oh, no.
Oh, he had no idea.
No, dude. No. And then now everybody's trying to very gingerly explain to this guy, bro, you got caught.
I think that being a fighter is a lot like my team being drunk. No.
You can't drive.
Over.
So you know what? It got so bad that finally one of the other guys that was also watching busted out the cell phone. Yo, here's the video of the fight, buddy. And so now he's watching it. Now he's shaking his head. No. This shit ain't real. I'm like, and I'm looking around like, okay, I'm leaving before a commissioner sees this. He might get a fucking permanent ban. I don't even want to be in the room. I'm like, wow. Like, so I mean, like, sometimes it's bad. That memory loss can be horrible. And you're sitting there telling a guy who's trained for 12 weeks for something, and now he doesn't even remember it. And you're like, no, you got knocked out. No, the fuck I did. It's like, dude, I got it on video right here. You know what I mean? Like, stop fighting with me. No. Get my gloves on. I'm going out there. I'm like, shit.
Let's go to. I was going to go to Aries. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask something that went fucked up in wrestling, which is quote unquote staged, that went completely awry.
Something similar to what you were talking about. Early in my career, I went to do a moonsault from the rope to the outside of the ring. I overshot my opponent.
Really?
With a buddy of mine. I watched the video. He goes like this. Just watches me fly over. I hit the screen that was down, slid down, knocked myself out on the concrete. So my opponent rolled me back in the ring. I'm out. He splashes me as gingerly as possible, like barely touches me, covers me 1, 2, 3, match is over. But it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. So they go, we're the first fall, Big Brody Hoofer, and okay. And now I kind of, some people run the ring and check on me, and now I kind of come to, and I don't know what's going on. They're like, all right, we're going to stop the match, and I grab the ref's leg. So what are you talking about? Ring the fucking bell. Tell him to get on me. Yeah. And the ref's, he's inexperienced, so he's just, okay, he rings the bell, and we did 2 more falls. I'm concussed. I tried to do the blading thing for the first time ever in my career. Right. Awful attempt. I thought I got myself good. It was like a little kitten that scratched me afterwards. It's probably good. I didn't need to lose blood after being concussed.
Well, I was going to ask you, have you cut yourself? It's like, slice yourself.
Only a few times. My favorite was right in front of my mother. She was in there.
I always cut myself.
Yeah, well, she didn't know. She didn't know, but yeah. Well, shit wrestlers only say, We've
had that where referees had to fight off fighters that get concussed.
Because they don't know.
They don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's something I do sometimes after a match.
Where guys go, I'm okay. I'm like, homie, you were just fighting the ref for the last minute and a half.
I've grabbed
You're not okay. Hey, that dude don't even. You were fighting a guy who was shirtless with gloves on. Now you're fighting a guy dressed in black.
I've rolled up a few referees in small packages after the bout, trying to beat them, not knowing what the hell was going on. Just instinctually, like the guy's checking on me, I grab him for a small package. And
Go ahead.
The same
Chad.
way people watch NASCAR for the crashes, I like watching MMA for the guys that try to fight the refs after they're knocked out.
No, the worst knockout I ever saw. In fact, it retired me for a good minute. I'm sitting there going, I'm done fighting. Fuck this. I went to the Affliction show because Fedor was fighting
Arlovsky.
I wanted to see because both guys were potential future opponents. So on the card was Vitor Belfort, and he was fighting Matt Lindland. Now Matt Lindland at the time was one of the best middleweights in the world, top 5. Fucking guy was a killer, silver medalist in the Olympics, good wrestler. And then Vitor Belfort, who physically was one of the most gifted fighters of all time, but kind of a mental midget at times. He'd make mistakes. No confidence in himself, really. I mean, not a smart guy, but just no confidence. It was the craziest thing to see a guy that gifted scared to death as much as he was scared. So him and Matt Lindland are going to fight. Well, all of a sudden, Vitor became Vitor, where he's either going to kill you or die. And he caught fucking Lindland with a shot, dropped Matt. Then when Matt's on the mat, before the referee can get there, he hits him with like 3 or 4 more hammer fists. So now Matt Lindland's asleep. He's out, cold. He comes to, and he's trying to get up. Yeah. His corner, everybody's trying to hold him down. Like, dude, relax. He has like his mouthpiece jammed between his lips because he looks like this.
Yeah.
And he's making like this baby deer giraffe.
At this point, for the listener, Frank Mir is making...
No, they have video.
Yeah, we have video. Tune to YouTube if you want to see this. So he's doing like the
inappropriate,
shake, and they're trying to hold him down, and it looks bad. He's not home, but the lights are on. And so I look over at. I was sitting with Joe Silva. I'm like, oh man, I'm about to call my dad real quick because my dad was always in my corners. Like, if that ever happens to me, just jump the fuck on me and like cover me with a towel. Like, because I'm just looking at him like, oh my god, like. He looked, it was bad. And people at home couldn't see that because obviously the camera didn't show that. But live, I'm like, oh, he just fucking forgot 5th grade, dude. Yeah. Like, it's done.
And you can hear Matt Lindland's podcast, Matt on the Mat.
Hey, if we can, guys, just a quick hit here. Hey, Sam. Sam. Come on. Don't nobody get up, move or anything. Let's if he can just lean into that mic.
Take my seat.
I just want to.
I thought he was a shooter. I saw him lingering around. I go, he's a shooter.
No. This is Sam. Oh, you would sit here for a second? Okay, bring him over here. Now, Frank, this is Sam from Portland. He is one of our phone booth fighting listeners.
Sam, how you doing, buddy?
How long have you been listening to phone booth fighting, Sam?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
Good. All right. We appreciate you listening, subscribing. And Sam's story is this, Frank. We've been talking about you and I've been doing this program for 5 months. Sam heard us talking about it. They do this program all around the world, actually, but they're doing it up in Portland as well. And Sam signed up because he heard us talking about it. Now, how long have you been doing it?
We're about week 5 or 6. We just started the full time.
Better question is, how are you going to get out of it now?
Yeah. no refunds.
Yeah.
Well, he knows now he only has at least 6 seconds. What's that? Shit.
So he's got to beat 6 seconds.
Well, the bar's low.
Sam, did my performance give you any cause for concern about the next?
That's a good segue with Mike talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 months or so for you.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. That guy was a little big and a little young, I think, to be matched up with you. But
are you already considering how to bribe the officials to set you up against the 15-year-old now that you know a little bit more about how it works?
I don't know if you want that 15-year-old. He was fucking pretty tough.
That kid was
young
tough.
And
he was super tough.
Yeah.
He almost choked Jason out with that triangle. I'm like looking at it. I'm like going, James making fun because you see the look on your face. You're like, oh, shit.
To watch the toughness in that kid when he was driving his face into him and just withstanding all of it, just feet away from me. That kid is tough. I was surprised when you said his age. He was young, but...
You know what? That's the thing I love about MMA, martial arts now, is that... I mean, fuck, man. In high school, if you were thinking to take someone's lunch money, that's the fucking kid you would pick.
Sure.
And if you don't know how to fight, that kid will fuck you up.
Quick.
He knew about guillotines, triangles.
Real quick.
He landed some right hands. Like, that guy gave Jason, who's had, I think 6 or 7 fights, a run for his money.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Now, it's...
Candid. You keep talking. Chaley's going to take a candid shot of you actually being a guest.
Awesome. Thank you.
Posing.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So you talk to Frank.
Don't look at the camera.
Yeah, you'll want to use this
and act
for
like
your,
you're friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you belong here.
So how does our program compare to what's going on up there in Portland, do you think?
I'm not sure. I just been in the morning trainings and working with the coaches and things. So
yeah.
But watching the fights, there are a lot of great fights, to watch, and exciting. The crowd was into it, so it was a lot of fun.
I'm surprised how many people were there.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we do another Women Warrior Syndicate, I think we're going to have to talk to them about. I mean, I know that it's going to cost money, but there might be an objective to sell tickets and go ahead and get a small arena, like go over to the Orleans or something, like talk to somebody and
tell them
we stitch you up in the back.
We knew there was no ice early on because Stanhope was looking for ice
for his drinks.
From the get-go.
We brought a booze bag. We had a full bar in that satchel behind Chaley, but we didn't have cups or ice. And I go, well, they have to have cups. They drink water.
You're absolutely right. That'd be a good safe bet and normal.
And I said they have to have ice here because. So I asked a fighter who's. I think he
was in the UFC.
UFC guy. He was hanging out.
Amir Sadala?
Yeah, that was him.
He's like, he recognized me. I'm coming to see you. How do you know me?
Yeah, he was getting ready to leave. He stayed because of you guys.
It's great. And I go, we need cups and ice. I go, when you have a swelling and they put ice on your face, they must have ice here.
Where does that ice come from? Where are you getting
and he said, I don't know. I said, now I realize I should be talking to your corner man and not.
There goes James Horn saying making his exit. Frank's training partner.
Frank.
Yep.
Are you? Okay. I'm gonna talk for you while you're gone.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have someone that is Google savvy. All right. Frank's walking away. Last night, you and I, Dick Hunter, we had dinner.
Yes.
I thought Frank was gonna be there, and it's one of those things. The last time I let someone pick up a check that didn't cheat their way in, Morgan Murphy, is Johnny Depp. Because, the old Mitch Hedberg joke. Sometimes when my agents take me to dinner, I pull out my wallet when the check comes because inside my wallet there's a note that says, remember to say thank you. So, anticipating Frank Mir being there, when the check came, I was going to make us Google celebrity net worth, which is dog shit.
Right.
But whoever had the most money according to celebrity net worth would have had to pay. So I wanted, when he comes back, now that he stepped away fortuitously, I use a big word for the third time in 2 days.
Nice.
You've taken more shots today than Hunter did.
Where's our flunky?
What are you looking for?
Well, he's not a flunky.
Oh, you want somebody to Google it?
I get Hennigan over here.
Yeah,
Doug's texting.
Well, he's texting. He's texting.
No, by the way, this is an A-lister move, by the way, of Doug. Like when your whole team, your squad comes along on the road, like Doug's got his manager and podcast producer and everything. That's like what you do. That's an A-lister move when you got the whole team. Like because you brought hair and makeup, you brought everybody. Yep.
This is You're an excuse for us to get away from our wives.
Yeah. So we want to Google
to hit on yours.
Did you see the comment on one of your, because you reposted that picture of us from dinner last night, and Jennifer was the only girl there because you guys are having a don't drag the bag weekend, right? And so I posted the picture and I said, one of the great things about Vegas is seeing seeing the stars that come out for the big fights. And one of your fans posted stars. He goes, I see Joby and Chad Shank, but other than that, who are all the guys around the hot girl? Oh, Sebastian's here. Okay, so real quick, Sam.
Frank, we have a bet.
Yeah.
You don't know what the bet is, but one of us is picking up the tab for the drinks.
Frank's in on it.
Quickly, the bet is who's picking up the tab. I thought you were going to be at dinner last night, so I thought when the check comes, we're going to check celebrity net worth.
Yes.
Me versus you, which is all bullshit anyway. But
whoever.
Yeah, because I think it says I'm worth $10 million. And,
oh fuck!
I don't know where the fuck that is.
Picking up the tab.
I don't know where the fuck any of that money is.
What do they have?
I have my crew checking.
Oh, okay. Okay, they're checking.
I think if you part me off when I die and sell my parts away, you get my worth.
Kidney, $250.
That guy's worth about $5 million. Oh, that's because I have my beautiful blue eyes. Those are worth at least $1 million apiece.
I'm worth $100,000 dead.
$2 million if you kill me. Yeah, the wife gets
more dead than alive.
Was my I saw my opponent.
Let me know
come
if you
in
need help
here.
with that someday.
He is here. Okay. All right, we got to get him over at some point.
Frank, I was about to say one of my managers walked away because I have two managers over there. And I thought that sounds ridiculous. But earlier you told me one of my nutritionists, when you drank tequila, Big Dick Hunter accidentally drank tequila, you said one of my nutritionists.
Yes.
I feel silly for having two managers. I have a road manager and a business. Yeah. You have several nutritionists.
And actually now I've gotten rid of them all. I only use my...
You're the MC Hammer of fucking worthless posses.
Actually, that's a shout out to you. Before 6 months ago, I thought vegan was very healthy, and I'm still not a vegan, but I've abandoned a lot of meat, and actually a lot of it was due to you because seeing that you have muscle tone, and as a vegan, I've basically gone 90% pescatarian. Like I eat fish and eggs, but I don't.
People don't realize steroids
I've lost
are vegan.
50 pounds over a year.
So I mean, steroids are vegan. So
people
realize it's easy to keep muscle on. Vegan.
I got AIDS and I lost 50 pounds.
Gluten free too.
I hear.
THC stuff.
Well, THC,
CBD,
all of it. Yeah.
Where's
all
my
natural.
Frank? Did you see my opponent anywhere? He was in here a minute ago.
Where was he?
We need to get him.
Like a nice guy.
We need to get his perspective, don't we?
That was ice in his hand.
Oh, is he here?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, all right.
Sam, tell everybody how they can follow you on Twitter and everything, because I want them to follow your progress.
Oh, I have no idea. I like.
You know which Twitter
I have
is?
a Twitter, but I can't even remember what it is.
Oh, okay.
I got it. I follow like
Sam
5
is
people,
too
maybe.
cool for Twitter.
Okay.
He's a shameful self-promoter.
I am. Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the club. I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm the
Well,
worst.
one thing over the next 5
You
months.
wouldn't like it anyway,
Listen,
even if I remembered it.
I may not be much help with anything else in your camp, but I can help you with the self-promotion over the next 5 months. We'll tighten all that up. Yeah. All
Just
right.
to get back on a couple, in Portland, they plan on doing the event. The finale is part of a local show at the Roseland.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that'd be an idea they could do here.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a nice venue up there. Hey, by the way, guys,
What you're doing.
Huh? All right.
Sorry.
So we're going to bring... Uh-oh. They got confused in the orders that Doug gave them?
Nobody has done anything that he said.
Okay.
It's not just Mir that's ignoring Stanhope. His own managers are ignoring.
All right, so let me just paint the picture that's going on in the other room for a second, if you guys will indulge me. So I just sent Frank over to find my opponent who has shown up here to get him on the podcast. But the funny thing is, before he realizes everything's going to be okay, that we want him on the podcast, there's going to be a good 4 to 5 seconds of oh shit, because Frank's going to come over and be like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? All right, so we're. I think he's tracking him down. Oh, where'd Joby go? Because
Joby went to the bathroom, I think.
All right, okay, we'll get Joby back over here.
Yeah, Joby's full of alcohol and Adderall.
Oh yeah.
It's in AA.
Yeah. What did you guys do last night after the big pre-fight dinner?
We
Did you guys
sat at the emptiest bar at the hotel, the Luxor. We can say it now because we'll be gone by the time people come bother us. But no one would even care to. So we found a bar at the sports book that's empty, and we sat and bullshitted and had a blast and laughed like fucking children.
Until 3:45 in the morning.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It was later than that.
Well, that's the last time I had any activity on my phone. I remembered this morning, I said, I think I called my wife last night. And then I looked and I go, no, I called my wife at 3:48 a.m. Sorry, honey.
As our listeners know, and yours might not know, Chad is a danger to himself and others, and mostly others.
and himself. Equal.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
That covers
intro
everybody.
He's not good in public.
recognition.
I'm not good in public mentally, but he could turn sideways, and he was great. Oh, here it is. All right.
All right.
Enough
Sam,
of
I'm going to put you in
Chad.
Sam's chair here if you don't mind. You're hanging out for a second. You're a bit, right? We'll to you after? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to put you in Sam's chair here. Now, here comes Scott.
Here is Big Dick's opponent.
And how we doing? Dick Slayer.
And new.
Yeah, and new. Undefeated amateur MMA fighter. All right, Scott. Welcome to the Swapcast. You're actually on two podcasts right now.
Okay.
You're on Phone Booth Fighting, and you're on Doug Stanhope's podcast.
Okay. Are you more afraid of being on microphone versus the ring?
Ooh, I don't know, man. I did kind of take a nap before the fight, so I don't think I was afraid. But I've never been one for nerves, though.
Have you played other sports?
I was a swimmer through high school. That was about it.
God, say you were a D1 wrestler. Just say, yeah.
Just jumping in the pool, you have him by a length.
He was a cheerleader.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, God. Richard, here's the knife.
Yeah.
Well, they say public speaking is the biggest fear.
Yeah, it's like the number one fear, right?
Oh, man, I've already had 3 drinks. I'm good to go.
All right.
There we go.
Now, Scott,
3 drinks is what
of a great victory
to get the shakes off of me so I can eat my breakfast. That's
Scott was my opponent. Now, Scott, give everybody your recollection of what happened.
Oh man, it was a blur. Honestly, it was one of those just let adrenaline take over and just go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've seen the video. It's a blur.
It is a blur.
Yeah.
Did you hear your heartbeat in your ears?
It wasn't more heartbeat. It was one of those things. You know how. You probably know, as soon as you step in the ring, it's just like you're underwater. You don't hear the crowd anymore. You don't hear nothing.
Easily my first 5 fights, same way. Like I could actually used to be able to hear my heartbeat in my ears walking out to the cage.
Well,
so the knockout was as surprising to you as it was to Dick?
The thing is I figured since I'm easily the tallest guy there, being 6'8", which
6'8". See there? Oh, I had him at 6'7". It's better now. 6'8".
Put Rich at a disadvantage, unfortunately. But I knew, even through training, I knew everybody was going to either go for my legs or try to just turtle up and step in. And I was just practicing that step back right hook counter, and if he came through for my legs, I was practicing that step back and uppercut. So just pretty much just clench my fist, grab my teeth, and let it fly.
Yeah.
I definitely expected you to go for his legs, is what I thought was going to be.
Well, here's the problem with that, though, because he's so tall.
Anticipate that.
If Richard drives with a blast double and drives forward, he could trip him up, but it has to be like a downward trajectory type of double. The problem is most of the time when you shoot on the leg, you lift people up. That's why, like John Jones, besides being a phenomenal wrestler, he's so hard to take down for Daniel Cormier, because Daniel Cormier is like 5'11".
Yeah.
John Jones, 6'4", 6'3", but long legs.
No.
So every time Daniel would lock up on John's legs, he would extend his body up, right? So he like picking up a suitcase. Well, most people, if you do that, I connect my hands between your legs and I stand up tall, you're off balance now. You're hopping on one leg because I've lifted your center of gravity up. When you fight someone as tall as Scott, you go and lock your hands and then you extend your hips. All of a sudden, they're not off balance because you can't go up any higher. So we actually worked on the clinch to go on the back and drag him down.
And clearly, as he just confirmed, he was expecting... right. You're either going to go for my legs because that makes sense. So you got to trick the in between strategy.
Yeah, I was kind of afraid to throw a kick because I was expecting him just to be ready for that, and grab it, and then run the pipe.
What did we tell you to do if you threw a kick?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Immediately was just to rush you.
Yeah.
As soon as the kick made contact, not to anticipate it going back down, but knowing that once it makes contact, it has to retract. Mm-hmm. And on that contact was his green light just to run forward and grab you and throw you down.
Well, we had a plan, and
everybody has a plan.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Has a plan
now
until you get punched in the face.
Now let's see here. Let's see.
Hey, that's Mike Tyson. Not
Yeah.
I feel bad for Scott. Are you disappointed that after 5 months of hard training, you only got 6 seconds?
No, he's not disappointed.
He hasn't lost his virginity yet. It's going to be the same thing.
Hey, I'm 31. It's okay.
Oh, he's 31.
Oh,
younger.
You baby face motherfucker.
I get that all the time.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I was wondering if you were.
6'8"
I thought we were going to get in trouble because you were drinking beer next to us.
I work in a liquor shop. I still get carded. I'm like,
Yeah.
He wears glasses, so when he lost his virginity, he couldn't see it happen from that height.
I'm sure his uncle told him all about it.
I think she's
he was there.
Someone's got to run the camera. Got to document everything nowadays.
Yeah. Now, was your
Scott? I missed the fight. We all came up here for the fight.
His nicotine habit
I
was
went
more
out
important than his
to
friendship.
Smoke a cigarette before the fight, and the fight was over. And I came back in.
He's
for a
basically saying you're a
cigarette.
fucking asshole. Look at him. He dressed up, showed up at the party, and you ended it too soon.
I
That is a
brought
nice
3
suit.
different suits.
Yeah.
That is a nice
you know what
suit.
we should do maybe for next season for chain smokers like Doug? They could have a text feature like they do at the pharmacy when your prescription's ready to pick up. It'd be like, your fighter is ready now, and then you
go.
could come
I like
in from
it.
the smoking area. Yeah.
No, I was actually really surprised with how well that fight was ran. Or the entire
event,
venue was run.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting it to... am I allowed to curse?
Sure. You can say
I
whatever
was
you want.
expecting it to be a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
For just clown fiesta the whole way through.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we started on time, and it went perfect.
Yeah.
It's
And
so
I was
loud in
happy.
here. I thought you said, I'm surprised how well that fight was rigged. I really thought you said that.
I thought I'd have to throw 2 punches.
I might have missed it because there was a lot of chaos. But right after the fight was called, they kind of hustled everybody out of the octagon. I think even you.
Yeah.
Did you actually get your hand raised in the middle of the octagon?
Yeah.
Or not? 'Cause
yeah,
I
we
missed
did that.
I'm pretty sure I did.
No,
Oh,
we did.
No, actually, Scott was there. In fact, what do you do for a living?
I was a
He knocks motherfuckers out is what he
No,
does.
no, do you have a medical background? Of some
No,
sort?
no medical background. I was a restaurant manager for a while.
Oh, I thought you
same thing,
paramedic or something, because he was sitting there pulling the mouthpiece, talking to Richard, like being attentive to his health. And at first, I was like, "No, I wonder if this kid's like a paramedic."
At
or
one
something.
point in my life, I wanted to be a cop, but then I realized that they make shit money for being shot at. So let's not do that.
Yeah.
You get to beat people up.
Yeah, they do get to beat the shit out of people whenever they feel like it.
Yeah,
That's a nice
it's all
perk.
coming back to me now because that was the ultimate power move. Because Frank's asking me, do I know where I'm at, and all that. Scott comes over and goes, open up. I opened my mouth, and he took the mouthpiece out.
Yeah, he pulled his mouthpiece out. Like, "What?"
Yeah. It was a solid move. Are you married? Do you have a girlfriend?
I got a girlfriend. She is around here.
Is she here?
Oh,
This
I was
is
going to
be
ask
the
that
greatest
next.
night of your life,
if he
right?
thought he could get pussy after a fight.
I mean,
Oh man, it's been like what, 2 weeks?
Oh yeah. Oh, you did the old fighter
Yeah,
thing
you know.
of like, yeah.
Oh,
Do you sense
so
Gotta
tonight's a
be
good night,
angry
yeah.
like a bull, right?
Sure. Do you sense she's already looking at you differently this afternoon? Like
No,
you're
she was
6'9" or 6'10" now?
Wait a minute.
She was actually very awesome. When we started, she let me just chill, hang out, get in my own little zone. And because we were the third fight, and so the first 2 fights, she kind of just like stayed away. And I could tell she was getting nervous, but she like stayed in her own space and didn't let me get that nervous energy off of her. So yeah, she was awesome about it.
All right. Nice. Meanwhile, Mrs. Muir was over comforting my girlfriend. This is what I got from
The other Jenna whore.
Yes, they're both.
Yeah.
They're both
Inside
Jennifers.
joke.
Yeah, we
Yes.
totally all weren't over there giggling.
Yeah. Well,
She
here's
was,
I got this from firsthand accounts that your Jennifer, Frank, in her sincere attempt to put my Jennifer at ease, told her before the fight, she said, "Now listen, don't worry. If something doesn't turn out, his way, the best thing that can happen is if he gets choked out, he'll just go to sleep. He'll just go to sleep. It'll be okay." That's what I heard.
Been married to a professional fighter for 15 years. Like, oh look, he'll wake up.
Yeah.
That was one thing I really liked learning about was because I was Bill. We all know Bill, right? He's Bill.
Oh yes, yeah. One of the guys in class who was
he's,
far and away
250 pounds, just
athletic,
solid boxer.
obviously a football player.
And
yeah,
he got to knock me out a few times during sparring.
Yeah.
And one thing I learned is during a knockout, you feel no pain whatsoever. But an hour later, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure you were
Scott, now that you're the Syndicate MMA champion on Warm Springs Road, who do you want to call out next?
Oh, good question. Good question.
Because I'm calling out Roxy.
Close to yours. We're good, man. We're good.
Yeah. Hey.
I can come up with 40 pounds, right?
We got you on Monday.
I somehow think Frank would really enjoy that just because of the loss that he feels he suffered as a corner man. I think he would thoroughly enjoy that fight.
That's you're like, please submit me. I'm like, no,
all the shame.
More punches in the body.
Frank Mir gets all the shame for your loss.
Yeah.
You know
it's
that.
my fault.
It is completely your fault.
Intimidate you at all with me being in his
No,
corner?
not at all. I was actually going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're definitely sparring on Monday.
Yeah,
dude.
no. One of my,
Careful how you answer this, motherfucker.
no, one of my buddies was like, my buddy James. He used to be your neighbor. He used to know you. You guys used to get haircuts at Supercuts, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he was
James said, "Hey, if you ever get on the podcast, drop my name."
Yeah. Remember the Supercuts back in the Supercuts days.
He saw the picture of you guys that you posted on Instagram because I follow you as well. And he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "Are you worried? You got Frank Mir in his corner?" I'm like, "Nah, man, that just gets me more pumped up."
Yeah.
He's like. And we were kind of warming up together, and he's like, "Hey, Frank Mir is watching you, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, Frank Mir is watching me." That makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's
That's
an interesting
cool.
aspect.
Yeah, it's a good way to take it.
Well, and Scott, I have to tell you too. I mean, just in terms of the dynamics of my relationship with Frank, the advantage, if he gave me any advantage, it was just keeping me calm. Like that's the biggest role you play for me. Like I mean, the technique is awesome, but it's like I would have been
normal.
Yeah, I would have been way.
Don't be a
nervous.
spaz.
I would like to say that you say there's nothing on the line on this fight. You're doing this for fun. There's no money, but no, Scott is the new co-host of the phone booth.
We brought you
fighting.
here. All your friends and love.
This is how we tell you.
It was actually kind of funny because we were doing the weigh-ins on Friday, right?
Yep.
And we were like, because everybody thought I was fighting one of our guys, Dax.
Another tall guy.
Yeah, Dax.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, everybody's like 95% sure you're fighting Dax. Like, even when they called Dax, I was like two steps in, like, oh, I'm about to be his fight. And then he's like, no, he's fighting someone else. I'm like, who the hell am I fighting?
Right.
And, like, a week
He said
prior.
not an elderly person.
It was
No way.
actually funny.
But
A
yes.
week prior, I was going to. You put out something for the phone booth fighting T-shirts.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to get a T-shirt. I'm going to wear that at weigh-ins. And,
damn.
and it would have worked out perfectly.
Yeah. What size T-shirt do you wear?
Right now, large. But
Okay,
earned a
Frank,
shirt.
I have to consult with my business partner for a second. Frank, would it be okay with
I think
you
we
if
can get him a shirt. He's
we
earned
gift
it.
him a shirt?
I'm
Okay.
gonna,
Cool guy.
I'm going to see about crowdfunding a T-shirt that says I knocked out Richard Hunter and all I got was this T-shirt.
Yeah.
There we go.
Dude,
I
would
fought
rock
Big
that.
Dick Hunter and I couldn't even lose my baby teeth.
Well-
I made you smile, and that made the joke work.
Yes, it did.
All right, man. Well,
Gummy
if I had to get
McBiscuits.
knocked out by somebody, I'm glad it was you, Scott. Yeah.
Pleasure,
Yeah.
man.
All right. Tell everybody. Would you like an extra Twitter follower or two? Would you like to tell people where they can find you on
Not me,
Instagram or
Man,
anything? Or would
I
you keep that
have
private?
not changed
no
my
feeling
Twitter
in my
profile
head.
picture in 11
Oh, okay.
years. But
Okay. We're just so used to plugs on the show.
No, Instagram, Scotty period Ha. That's
okay.
all it is.
H-A for Hawkins, right?
For Hawkins.
Got
yes,
it.
sir.
All right. All right.
All right.
Well,
Awesome.
thanks for coming on, dude.
Hey, Scotty, now that you're the world champion and you're recently engaged,
Not yet, but
you will be after
Right.
tonight.
you are a minor eater, so
but
eventually.
now pussy's going to flock to you.
Oh,
It's
I
gonna-
see, yeah.
All
Yeah.
the chicks that were there are
Both
trying to fuck you.
Bonus points would say that I only have one pussy, and it's good enough for me. So we'll just keep it at that.
Kind of like Cookie Monster.
Frank, how does
C
he
is for
handle
cookie,
the
that's good enough
newfound
for me.
fame?
Sean,
Hey,
he
man, one
says
step at a
no.
time. Keep the people around you.
Hey, I
Sean.
mean, I am the only person in
Yeah.
Hunt to Warrior Las
Yeah.
Vegas to knock out
Yeah.
someone in 2 years.
I'm sorry.
So.
Sean is the owner of...
Only.
Yeah, I was hoping not to be the one to break that to you. That we found that out that you... Yeah, were you not aware of that?
Sean,
Well, what evil statistician decided to share that?
Yeah, they text me that. They're like, are you aware that Richard's
Oh, they
the only
texted you, did
person?
they?
Yeah, I'm like,
The one and only. That's all right.
the first.
Record setter.
There will be many others, but there'll be no other firsts.
Hey, Rich, I just want to let you know you were my first, and I appreciate it.
For the listeners, he just reached across and touched his hand in a gentle manner.
All right. Okay, Joby's back. All right.
Welcome back, Joby.
He's got to get the fuck out of the seat.
Yeah, Joby's back.
Especially if
Now,
you're
what's
dressed
that?
like that. You
Doug's
can't help
wandering back in
minors.
the kitchen. What's going on back
I'm not
there?
trying to keep track of Doug anymore. I'm fucked up, but he's more fucked up.
All right, Joby, as soon as Doug gets back, I did promise the brothel, the
Dennis Hoff story.
in memoriam.
Oh, that's right.
Because, Frank and I have not even talked about this on the podcast, and our listeners are clamoring for it.
We haven't done the podcast.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it would be best to wait until Doug was here, because Doug knew him as well.
Dennis
I talk
Hoff
too much, it's annoying.
died where I was in some kind of party mode, like tonight or last night.
Yeah.
George W. fucking Bush the third or
just
whatever.
died.
HW. Yep.
HW.
Yep.
So,
Like 980 hits site wide.
Yeah.
So
I thought he meant his age.
Well, yeah, not much of a
988.
payoff because it's 100 minus your age. So
Hey,
with him
hey.
at 94.
again, points are points.
I know. I
Okay,
understand.
so don't
but
don't
you
scoff
waste
at
the pick
points.
for 5 points.
Big
It's
Dick
points.
Hunter, you were around for the Dennis Hoff death.
Yes.
Where, like last night, where I was in a gambling fog. George W. Bush died. I'm like, what?
I had to
And then I
text him
forgot.
to tell him that Hoff died.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he
But
didn't know.
To be clear, I was not anywhere near the scene when it happened because Dennis. Here's the funny thing: for all the things I've done with Dennis over the years, this radical right-wing political campaign that he ran offended my sensibilities. So,
Yeah,
of
well-
all the things I had to tell him,
Well,
listen,
you're vegan
this
and
is
you're
the
liberal.
part I can't have anything to do with.
Fucking
Okay,
hilarious.
all right, I am not okay with this.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anything to do with that. But I went anywhere. But I will tell you this: a little bit of trivia. He died in the same room, in the same bed where I found
yeah.
Lamar Odom.
Yeah,
unconscious.
Odom. Yeah, it was the same bed, right?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So that room can tell some tales. Doug though had the ultimate obituary. I mean, of all
Yeah,
the,
it was really good.
It was all over the news, but Doug, because Doug knew him too. And Ron Jeremy was at the scene and found him and all this. And
And that
Doug's,
fucking cocksucker, the Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
Oh,
Joe
Arpaio,
yeah.
that cunt.
That was
I
the worst.
fucking
The
hate
night
him.
before.
And he didn't get any bad press from that.
Yeah.
From
No.
what I saw.
No, the night before, he had a fundraiser that was attended by Roger Stone and Sheriff Joe Arpaio. And
Well,
that's the other thing,
that's
too,
what I
told
texted
him.
you is
Yeah.
like, why couldn't it have been Arpaio
Right,
that died?
right. No, Chad, that's the other thing, too, is I had told Dennis, I said, listen, these people you're hanging around are bad for my reputation. Like, I don't want to be seen with these people. The prostitutes were
ironic.
one thing, but I don't want to be anywhere near these people. But Doug, tell everybody your succinct 150 whatever it was character tweet.
No,
was perfect.
Or somebody that remembers it, tell us.
Oh no, I remembered it last night.
Yeah.
And then you corrected me, so you tell
Okay,
it. 'cause
All right.
You said, and this Dennis would
He
be the
died
first.
doing what he loved.
Yes, and which is cliche, you know. And
Yeah.
you say, "Oh, he died doing what he loved." Doug said Dennis Hoff died doing what he loved, getting publicity. Dennis Hoff also died doing what Ron Jeremy loved the most, getting publicity. And both of those people, Doug, would be the first to agree with that.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Absolutely.
He was the greatest
Dennis
self-promoter
Hoff
ever.
was so open, blatantly, I'm just doing,
Self-promoting.
yes.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I mean, I now the
Ron
tales-
White is a good example
yeah.
of a guy who is shameless about, I buy other comics. He said this to me once. He said, I buy material from great comedians, and then I take the teeth out of it so it's not funny anymore, and my audience applauds. That was about Andy Andrist.
Dennis had, now the tales can be told because Austin, not unlike the wrestling business, when he was alive, we were protecting the business. The facade of the.
But it's still a family kind of.
Well, yes, but all of the publicity stunts, we were protecting the way they used to do back in the day of pro wrestling. Okay, so now I can tell you a few stories. So he's doing an interview one day with Reason Magazine, the libertarians, right?
Jesus.
And they're interviewing him at the Bunny Ranch, and just out of fucking nowhere, I mean, just out of thin air, he says to the interviewer, well, of all the girls that work here, half of them have college degrees, and 1 in 5 has a master's degree.
Yeah.
And he gets done with the interview. The interviewer doesn't call him on it. We get done with the interview. I'm looking this up on my phone. We get done with the interview. I said, Dennis, if 1 in 5 girls here had a graduate degree, that would be twice the national average. What you're essentially saying is that parents are being, delinquent and irresponsible if they don't get their daughters into prostitution. And he just looked at me and he goes, if everything I said was true, I'd do half the interviews.
Dennis Hoff.
Right? That's good. Good going. Yeah.
Like, he was always nice to me.
Yeah.
But
no one
he
wants
was
to fuck
self-gain.
It's like a sneeze.
It was
I don't
like a
want it to
legal
happen, but
Harvey
it's gonna
Weinstein.
happen.
What you had to know about him was that
hang on, that deserves a retweet. He was like a legal Harvey Weinstein.
What you had to know about him, though, was, and again, these are all things that he would tell you, is that if it didn't happen in front of a camera, it didn't really happen, or it should, it didn't matter, basically. Yeah. And honestly, of all the people that were close to him, and he would be very open about this, it's like when he was genuinely happy is when he was getting publicity. And I'll use the Lamar Odom example. I don't think I've told you guys this story. So when Lamar Odom happened,
you did, off mic. You told me this.
It was 72 straight hours of just national press descending on the brothel. And satellite trucks parked all over the country. And by the way, I don't know if I need to tell you, it's bad for business at a brothel when you pull up and you're going to walk in front of Good Morning America's satellite truck, right? They tend not to want to come in the brothel. Yeah. So 72 hours of this. Now, keep in mind, we thought that Lamar Odom was going to die. I mean, for a couple of days there, it was like, I think this guy's going to be dead.
Yeah, but you found him.
And, right. But the doctor said, hey, this guy probably ain't going to make it. So we got 72 hours of this media. Now, anybody else, think about it. You own a business. Someone has a drug overdose in your business, and he's at death's door for 72 hours, and at the end of it, he lives. Pretty much anybody else would be relieved. They'd be like, okay, we thank you, dodge a bullet, no more publicity. So for 72 hours, it is touch and go. We don't think he's going to make it, right? So after 3 days, all the satellite trucks are leaving everything. Any other business owner would be relieved, right? A private moment, it's just Dennis and I sitting there. As the last satellite truck is pulling away, Dennis looks up at me and goes, Richard, we got to figure out a way to just keep this going. He's like, it was a tear was being shed because they were leaving.
That's like a Hallmark moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
that's brutal. I thought I was morally bankrupt, but I still am. Yeah. Well, I understand.
Okay, I'll tell you another one. So when Lamar Odom went to the hospital, all right, I have to follow the ambulance. And I'm calling. Do
you have
Jennifer.
to? Or?
Well, I mean, I guess I didn't have to, but I was like, I'm going to stay with this guy.
Better than leading it, though.
Yeah, right. I mean, and so I'm following the ambulance. We get to Pahrump because that was where the nearest hospital was. So they got him in the hospital in Pahrump. I'm the only person.
That's where dreams go to die.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the only person that's there, and I'm thinking, man, this guy that doesn't even know me is going to die, and I'm going to be the only person with him or whatever. So this weird, shady fixer guy shows up, okay? Like this guy.
Ray Donovan.
This is the power of the Kardashians. This guy.
Fixer guy?
Just a guy. Like a Ray Donovan.
Ray Donovan
Shows up. And he goes, let
later.
me talk to you for a second. Now, this is about, he's been in the hospital for 3 hours now or something. So, word has maybe started to trickle out that he's in there. So this guy shows up, and he takes me aside, and he goes, listen, I'm on the Kardashian, Odom team, And I understand that back at the brothel, there is a backpack, there's 2 cell phones, there's some non-disclosure agreements, which he traveled with his own non-disclosure agreements.
Really? Like signed agreements? Like is it notarized?
Yeah. No, I don't know about that. But he takes me aside and he goes, now I'm going to need you to release those to me. And I said, well, we got them locked up at the office. I don't know if I can do that or not until Hop says it's okay. And he goes, listen. He goes, right now, this is under the radar. No one knows about it. He goes, I'm sure your boss, Mr. Hoff, would not like this kind of publicity surrounding his business. On cue, my cell phone rings. I look down as Dennis calling me, right? I said, excuse me, I have to step away for a second. Answer the phone. And, hey, Dennis. He goes, yeah, okay, so TMZ is going to call you. Now, when they call you, now you talk to them first because I told them they could have. Now, after that, the National Enquirer will call.
TMZ is the worst fucking organization in the world. Go ahead.
But he's like, don't take National Enquirer before you take TMZ because we told them first. I mean, he's already engineering the whole thing, and this guy's over here like,
he doesn't want this
he's
kind
like,
of
publicity. He's like, that other guy over there is feeling real smart, going, right now we can play this. No one will know. And I'm like, boy, you don't know that.
We're on opposite teams. You don't realize it yet, but we have different goals. That's great.
He was the master at stuff like that.
He was good.
I know you were there, Doug. Like years.
I had to do
the Man Show.
The Man Show.
Yeah.
And it's in my book. Hey, plug my book. I forget the name.
This is not fame.
I forget the name of my book.
We went to film there for the Man Show, and Dennis Hoff, very gracious person, the most gracious person.
He would roll out that red carpet.
And he's like, you got a free pass for any one of my prostitutes, and Carrot Top has fucked my prostitutes. he kept name dropping, and Rogan goes,
gross.
Well, I'm not going to fuck your prostitutes. I don't want to be in the list of names that you... He goes, no, they're all openly... And they were.
That's true. Yeah.
We fact-checked.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, they were people that openly said.
Yeah.
But
they signed off.
Yeah, I had a wife. He had a girl. Yeah, we're not going to fuck your prostitutes if you're going to throw us in some fucking roll call of people who fucked your prostitutes.
Right after he died, they played on Howard Stern, the old Sternthology episodes with him on there.
Yeah.
And at one point, I was laughing because I remember you telling that story. But on the Howard Stern show, he started naming a few people who he could name, and one of the girls took a cue and just started naming people. And he had to be like, whoa, hold on.
Outing
all right.
Like the tricks.
Speaking of Stern, I got a good Stern story that
hey, Frank Mir, you ever fuck a prostitute at Dennis Hoff's place?
No, never have.
I might have told you the story, Frank. I might not have, but because he brought up Howard Stern just now, Doug did, and Dennis's relationship with him. So Dennis went on Howard Stern one time, as he did many times, for a particular promotion. And this promotion was called Get My Grandpa Laid.
Yep.
Okay?
Just listen to it.
Okay. Now, the concept was this. You would bring your grandpa on Howard Stern and plead his case as to why he should win a free weekend at the Bunny Ranch, and then Howard would select the winner.
These grandpas were 85, 95.
Oh, yeah.
They were old.
Oh, yeah.
Crotchety, just awful.
Right.
Yeah.
So the winner was this guy, Grandpa Johnny, who was a widower, and he was in his mid-80s, and he'd been a widower for 20 years or something. He wins. So I'm at the Bunny Ranch when Grandpa Johnny arrives with his grandson, who is the one who sponsored his appearance on Howard Stern. Okay?
I know this story.
So it's the Thursday afternoon tea party, which is the staff meeting for all the girls. They sit around with the tea party hats on and do their meeting.
And fuck Dennis Hoff with a fucking bloated red head.
So Grandpa Johnny comes dancing into the brothel. He is excited, and he has already selected his prostitute of choice there. And so
pointing at Hennigan.
He just had to make sure the camera went black. So he selects his. He says, I'm ready to meet Caressa, you know, and his grandson says, okay, well, Grandpa Johnny, you know, we're going to get to that, but since we're here and Lake Tahoe is 20 minutes away, why don't we go out, we'll have a nice steak dinner, you know, and then you come back and you have your private time with Caressa. So he goes, so they go up to Lake Tahoe for a steak dinner. Now, that's where I left them because this was evening time now, and I head back to where I'm staying. So about 5 in the morning, I get a emergency text message from Dennis Hoff. OMG, Grandpa Johnny went to Lake Tahoe for a steak dinner before he was going to fuck Caressa. He took one bite of his steak, choked on it, and died at the table. Now
it still gets better. Hold
this
on.
story gets just
way
a table
good.
full of guys. The guy died.
No, it's going to get better.
So that's not in the funny part, which is kind of
funny
morbid
part.
that we all
Funny
laughed
part.
at that part.
I'm
The truly funny part is actually coming.
I'm about to text back. That's awful. Is the family okay? I know his grandson was here. And you know, like on your iPhone, when you can see the bubble pop up where somebody is already texting, right? I can't even get that out. And the next text comes from him that says, get into my office immediately. We have got to figure out how to blow this up. So we go in there.
So Hannigan.
So we go in there for a meeting to figure out how to put the spin on that. And I believe TMZ proclaimed it the saddest day in Bunny Ranch history. Dennis was on the live feed talking about it. But here's the kicker. So
TMZ sucks.
I felt bad being a part of it until I found out. I found out that his grandson, when they were loading Grandpa Johnny's corpse into the ambulance, grandson reached into Grandpa Johnny's inside coat pocket and pulled out the voucher for the prostitute. Went to the Bunny Ranch that night and redeemed it, proclaiming it as a tribute to Grandpa Johnny.
Grandpa can't fuck her.
He would have wanted it that way.
That's the way he would have wanted it.
Such a great story.
What should we do, guys? Should we put a wrap on this one? Should we keep? Are we going to end tomorrow?
Chad Shank and I just pissed together and said, I'm as drunk as I could possibly be. And I said, you're doing good at it. And he said, you're doing good at it. But I don't know how long that's going to hold
positive
up.
reinforcement, guys. That's
that's
what friends are about.
It's a bad memory because I told him he was not doing good at it. He was drunk and out of control.
Well, look how much better he's doing
it.
So we will tell your podcast listeners that Phone Booth Fighting is available on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play and every place you get podcasts. We also have the YouTube channel, Phone Booth Fighting, so they can check out our weekly podcast there. And your listeners, or rather our listeners, need to know...
I think we're on Audio Boom.
Yep.
At Doug Stanhope Podcast, DougStanhope.com.
iTunes, I'll listen to you on iTunes,
it's
too.
everywhere. It's out there. Looking at loading it back up on YouTube.
Yep. I would like that, because you guys have a great setup, the Fun House in Bisbee, Arizona. Doug's basically awesome, built his own little bar clubhouse thing that they broadcast from. Yeah.
Anything else Frank Mir needs to plug?
Well, I got my fight December 14th. Guys, want to check it out?
Yes. 2 weeks from tonight.
Go out there representing Phone Booth Fighting.
Yes.
December 10th, actually. I'll be there a couple days early. It is my wife and I's 15-year anniversary. 15 years marriage she's put up with me.
Really? Yeah.
I'm actually going to be in Hawaii. Some good friends of mine are getting married the day after your fight, so I'll be there. I'll be there for a few weeks too. So maybe we'll get together.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to go check out Pearl Harbor and everything. Yeah, we're interested.
He'll be fighting for Bellator. It'll be on Paramount Network and on the DAZN app as well. So
that's what I was asking. I could be able to see it on both or just...
Yeah, it's always on both.
Okay.
It's not... sometimes it's just on DAZN, but your fight is on Paramount and DAZN. This is how the relationship works. You just remind Frank where
his head is still...
She does it to me all the time.
And I'd like to share something. My friend... Madeline, when she was sitting here watching you guys tape the podcast, she leaned over at me and she goes, Frank and Richard are so cute.
They are.
She was like, their friendship is so cute. Like, the way they look at each other. She was like, she goes, it's like they look at each other like they're
No,
like
it's
they're
gross.
such good
It's
friends.
really gross.
Like they actually like each other.
Yeah,
we are.
I love it.
Pretty soon you guys will be celebrating your 15
appreciate
years.
That's true.
Every once in a while, I get the disappointing father look from him. You know what I mean? The big brother.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like
But still.
no, it's the one where he goes...
Yeah.
He doesn't say nothing. He's just taking it in. judging how not to hurt my feelings.
It's gross when people are in love. It's gross. It's just gross.
Well, we appreciate your listeners, and I know we've made new Doug Stanhope podcast listeners out of ours as well. So we're always happy to share with you guys.
Phone booth fighting, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for inviting us.
Especially around the holidays. I was telling my Jennifer, I said, this is literally like Christmas Vacation when Randy Quaid brings his family to town, I think the same wardrobe,
Definitely had the most interesting group of individuals.
Need
No, we appreciate it. All right, so let's get back to having fun in Vegas, and I don't know, maybe we do this again?
Yep.
Maybe we do this again for you guys.
Now we got to go back. We went Bisbee, you guys came in, now we got to go to Bisbee.
For the Doug Stanhope podcast, we are Phone Booth Fighting, and we appreciate you listening. Thanks.
Yeah.